No, I didn't hear it.
Okay, meeting call to order this July 13th, 2023 Evan Neighborhood Board. I'm the Chair Pro Temp. Reading of rules of speaking. Go ahead, John.
Aloha, this is your community public forum. Your input and cooperation are really appreciated. The Evan Neighborhood Board is an advisory board, and we provide fairness, integrity, and collaboration to all to increase and assure effective citizen participation in the decisions of government. Anyone wishing to speak is asked to raise their hand, and when recognized by the chair, to address comments to the chair. Speakers are encouraged to keep their comments under 2 minutes, one turn per person. Those giving reports are urged to keep the reports less than 3 minutes and presentations under 10 minutes. Please silence all electronic devices. I'll ask that one more time. Please take a moment to silence all electronic devices. Video teleconferencing. The board will make a good faith effort to provide the public with the opportunity to observe the meeting as it happens and an opportunity to provide oral testimony without a physical presence in the physical meeting room. Please ensure that your computer or phone is muted unless you are speaking. Note, the board may take action on any agenda item as required by the state sunshine law. Specific issues not noted on this agenda cannot be voted on unless added to the agenda. And a 2/3 vote, which is 8 members of this 11-member board, is needed to add an item to the agenda. Items may not be added if they are of major importance and will affect a significant number of people.
Thank you, John. Okay, I'm going to introduction of board members. This is your newly elected Evan Neighborhood Board. We'll start from my right, which is John, and work our way down. Tonight, we have a full board. We have 9 of us here and 2 online. So, okay. Go ahead.
Aloha, everyone. My name is John Clark III.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alexander Gauss. Thanks for being here tonight.
Hello, my name is John Rogers.
Hello, my name is Liam Chin.
Aloha, I'm Corey Rosenlee.
Aloha, Wayne Kaivi.
Trey Gordner, thanks for being with us.
And online, we have Jana and Julie. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Jana Dela Cruz. Sorry I can't be there tonight. I got my other half of my wisdom teeth pulled out, so I just wanted to rest at home.
Jamaica.
Hello, my name is Jamaica Cullen. I'm sorry I couldn't be there either. I'm feeling under the weather.
Julie.
I'm Julie Reyes-Ota.
Thank you. Mitchell Tainanes. And thank you, everybody. I think this is one of the few first times we have a full board. All right. Okay, moving on. Okay, we're going to do elections of officers to serve from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. Officers to be elected are the chair, vice chair or chairs, secretary, treasurer, and any other officer determined to be needed to conduct the board of business. Now open the floor for nominations for, we'll start with chair.
I nominate Mitch Hernandez.
Second that.
Are there any other nominations?
I nominate Alex Gaios.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, nominations are closed. I guess call for the vote.
Okay, when making the vote, make sure say the name that you're voting for.
Actually, can I move to withdraw my name? I move to withdraw my name for chair.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Liam,
Oh, yes.
Okay, they said you can do a roll call. I mean, no need roll call, just all in favor, say aye. Any
Aye.
abstain? Any abstentions? Seeing none, thank you, guys. Okay, moving on to vice chair. In the nominations.
Chair, I would like to nominate John Clark and Julie Oda.
So co-chairs.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Any other
I'd like to
nominations?
Oh, I just wanted to second that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to second the nomination.
Okay, got that. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing none? All in favor? Any abstentions? Seeing none? Okay, John Clark, Julie Oda, hold vice chairs. Moving on to secretary. I open the nominations. Any nominations for secretary?
I would like to nominate Jenna.
Okay. Any other oh, I need a second. Okay, John Clark, second. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? And Jenna, you know, can say no.
That's okay.
All righty. We got the secretary. Okay, moving on to last, treasurer. Any nominations?
I would like to nominate Ty.
Who? Wait, who's that? Oh, okay.
Sorry.
He said Trey.
I'm sorry.
Trey. Treasurer. Okay, any other nominations? Any other nominations? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, thank you. Oh, that was one of the quickest elections we had, I think, in like 15 years, just letting you guys know. Sorry. Great, guys. Okay, moving on. Public safety, first responders. Honolulu Fire Department. Are they online? Okay, if they do come online, then we'll, you know, they're very busy. Okay, moving on to Honolulu Police Department.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Congratulations on the elected board. Members of the community, Corporal Pagan with the Honolulu Police Department District 8 Community Policing Team. And I have your crime stats for June. In June, we had 37 motor vehicle thefts, 8 in our area, 23 burglaries, 8 in our area, 134 thefts, 28 in our area, 28 unauthorized entries into a motor vehicle, 10 in our area. There's a total of 515 citations issued. There's a total of 8,408 calls for service and 2,022 in our area. That's all I have. I'm open for any questions, comments, concerns, or compliments.
Well, now, any questions from the board? Go ahead, John.
You guys are doing great work and I appreciate it.
Thank you. And now,
No, this is just good. So, you know, the Leeward Bikeway is coming online at the end of this year, and that's the bikeway that runs along the train tracks all the way from,
Westlock.
yeah, Westlock. Renton Road, and then all the way through Waipahu. It's going to go into Waipahu, Pearl City to Halava. So from Halava to Kapolei, it's going to run. So I know I've seen patrols on the Pearl Harbor Historic Trail side. Do you folks intend to have quads available to do patrols on this side, or at least patrol the whole thing? There's a big space that's like there's no exits, and I'm just concerned I want people to feel safe on it and use it.
Yeah, I can talk to the command about it and see what we can do about getting the ATVs out there, or try to get some of our, we have a small bike detail as well. So we'll see about getting some of them out there and see what we can do.
So even now, people are using it. I use it a lot. I mean, all the way into Waipahu, and I just go around the back end of Waipahu to get back on the Pearl Harbor Trail, because the trail is mostly paved now from Kapolei into Waipahu. And one other thing is that there's 2 dogs at the Waikele Stream Bridge. There's no bridge there yet. That's what the contractor is building. But there's 2 dogs there. They're intermittently there. The one day I rode up and I was about 100 yards out, and they started running towards me. You know, it's like, holy cow. So I turned around and escaped through the little mini park in Waipahu. But I've been talking to other people, and even the Waipahu Elementary School. One of the teachers there warned me not to go back there as I was coming back another time, going through there because of the dog. So I did do a 311, but it's really hard for you guys to explain, you know, where it's at.
Yeah, I'll go down. That comes under D3, the District 3 Pro City Station, but I'll go let them know and see what they can do about
Thank you,
getting
sir.
out there.
Thank you.
Are we? So, yep. This, thank you for these statistics. I'm curious if you ever provide clearance rate so we can see the number of incidents that have been reported, but then the number of cases that have been solved, or where someone was
We don't have that because that actually goes to our detectives, the CID, and then, you know, one case may lead to 3 or 4. So we don't actually get those cases because it's hard to say. Because like if I gave you the theft cases for this month, the case may not be cleared till next month, and we won't be able to tell where each one was. So unfortunately, we don't really have access to that kind of information. I'm sure somebody does, but as far as what we have access to and the way that the data is provided, unfortunately, I couldn't tell you how many of these cases that happened last month were cleared.
Got it. Yeah, I understand more in real time, but I know that the that the HPD reports at the end of the year all of the clearance rate data to the FBI uniform. I work in criminal justice, so I was curious, maybe we could at some point in the year provide that, even if it's not direct related to each one of these monthly crimes, just a sort of
If you
overall
remind me
thing.
in November, I'll get it for you in December.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you for your service to our community, Officer Pagan.
Thank you, sir.
I have a 2-part question. You know, there were some highly publicized crimes on the Leeward Coast. I know there was a push to, I think, sort of divide up the number of officers, move some out of the Everplain over to Leeward. At least there was a discussion on it. Has there been movement on that? And I guess that's a 2-part question. Is there a plan to increase the number of patrols, either in Eva or Leeward, or the number of officers on the Leeward Coast in general, including Eva?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'll
Okay.
ask that one.
Sorry, the only change that we've had recently in regards to the district was we actually added a sector. So we actually broke up Eva Beach. So Eva Beach is now Sector 4. Sector 3 is now part of Ho'opili, the Polakai Parkway, and then Kapolei is Sector 3. Makakilo and Campbell Industrial into Nanakuli is Sector 2. So there's a break in the district, so that the areas that the officers are responding to have been shrunk a little bit. So that was the one thing with us going to the 313 schedule in August. The hope is that by having the officers working 13 hours and having more officers, we'll be able to fill the beats more often than we actually are now. So hopefully the average officers on the road will increase, the daily average of officers. So that will hopefully help address some of those concerns.
Okay. And the second part of my question is, can you share info on recruiting? In other words, how can I join the force at HPD?
If anyone is interested, you can go to the HonoluluPD.org website. There's a join HPD link there. There is no age requirements. there is a physical assessment as well as an aptitude test, physical and stuff like that. So if you're concerned about your age, don't be. HPD is also, I'm happy to share that HPD is starting a program. It's a police services officer. And what it is they're aiming at high school graduates. So what happens is as you graduate from high school at the age of 18, you can actually apply for the Honolulu Police Department. They'll be working within the police department. Their time towards retirement as far as being a police officer is counted from that date. At a point where they turn 21 years old, they'll be pushed into the next available recruit class, and they'll go through the recruit process to become a police officer. The idea behind that is actually so that we have a lot of people that coming out of high school, they are interested in being a police officer. However, because they can't be a police officer until they're 21, they'll end up getting into something prior to. And some are fortunate enough to find something that they like and they move on and they decide not to become a police officer. We're hoping that by getting them in at high school level or right after high school and getting them some information on being a police officer and actually work with the police department, it'll keep them in the department. With that program, my understanding is that I believe on every Friday, they'll be going to the academy and doing some type of police recruit type of training. So they'll get that type of experience as well. So it makes the transition a little bit better. We did have a recruiting fair at Kamakana, I believe 2 weekends ago. So the department is still going out and actively pursuing events where we can actually go and promote HPD and get people the information that they need to consider join the police department.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Go ahead.
Thank you. Just curious if you keep records on fireworks violations.
We do. I don't have that on here. It's not a normal thing. We normally report it around January and July. I don't have that with me on this one. I can get it for you for the next month's report if you want that.
Okay.
You're looking for the number of calls or?
Number of calls.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And just curious, I did notice a difference this 4th of July. I was wondering if there has been any policy changes from HPD over the last couple of months dealing with fireworks.
There hasn't been any significant changes in the policy as far as how we deal with it. We're still responding to all calls. Based on the law, there's still requirements that we have as far as enforcing them and arresting individuals. As many of you may know, this July, we actually closed Pu'uloa Beach Park. We allowed people on the beach, we're just not in the park. I'll be happy to say our unit was out there from 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 10 at night, and we had not one call in the area, which was nice. I believe Howbush was crazy as far as the amount of people that were there. But as far as I remember, there was not one call for any complaints or anything that went on there. I did talk to he's here, Senator Favela, and I know they're looking at trying to do something like they do at Kailua Beach and have the city or the state hold a fireworks show, hopefully at Howbush. I believe, I don't know, Mitch, he used to do that before a long time ago.
Representative Alcos was in that meeting as well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so they're looking at doing that. We did have some other instances regarding the amount of people and some of the people that were jumping into Haseko property, but as far as the fireworks stuff, and we do know it was going off. Fortunately, I think people enjoyed it, and it wasn't out of control as far as people doing it all night long and stuff. So.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say something to Officer Pagan, and I know this past week we lost a very dear friend of mine, Chief Donahue, and I wanted to send condolences out to the man in blue and his family. And I also wanted to thank you personally for everything that you've done for our community here, Mr. Pagan, because I know that you're up for what, is it retirement? Are you retiring soon or something?
I was saying,
okay. But anyway, on behalf of Back the Blue, because I'm creator of that, we thank you. All right.
Thank you,
Mahalo.
sir. Appreciate it.
Any other questions from the community? See none. Okay, we didn't see it. Go ahead.
Corporal Pagan, thank you. Congratulations, board. Welcome, community. The only thing I wanted to report on the Weed and Seed side is that we did complete our 20th, we had our 20th anniversary culinary program this summer. James Campbell High School, we had 25 students. All 25 got the half credit for the culinary class, which is offered by the principal, John Henry Lee. We had a great luncheon with our sponsors and our reps. Thank you, David, for showing up. We had some people that weren't able to make it, but it was a great event. Great sponsors. Thank you guys very much. On the other side, on Weed and Seed, if anyone is interested in attending our Legacy Luncheon, we are selling tickets for our Legacy Luncheon, which is on November 3rd. It's a luncheon at the Okinawan Center. All the money does go to helping programs in the community, the Weed and Seed communities, which are Eva Beach, Kalihi, Chinatown, and Waipahu. The money does go to help programs and help with the kids and the kapuna as well. So other than that, that's it.
Any other questions for the board? Any other questions from the community? I get one real quick. I always ask this, but it's been brought up where, I mean, you see it on the news all the time about this recent crime that's happening. And they just go in, smash in front of everybody, load them up, and leave. Now, I speak for myself and probably half the people in this room. We see that in front of us, something will happen. But I'm thinking repercussions gonna fall back on us, where if we confront the individual, the store not gonna prosecute, because more and more that type of crime and that element is coming, and if it doesn't go away, it's gonna just grow. So we as a community, how can we deter or stop that type of action?
We do not encourage people physically trying to restrain anyone. I just saw the news before I got here. The guy that stole stuff at the Evile Home Depot. Whoever was there did a great job just filming them during the whole time. The only thing I didn't see, and I'm not sure if they had it afterwards, but if you could film the vehicles that they get in as well, that helps us trace them down, prosecute them. Unfortunately, a lot of stores would rather just do the insurance route and just make the report after the fact, because there is the liability for their employees as well as trying to stop somebody happens to try to detain them. Just for people's information, if someone is shoplifting from a store and they walk out the store, it's a theft. If someone tries to stop them and they physically assault that person, it becomes a robbery, which becomes a felony. So unfortunately, if someone did go and he tried to stop him, we get a bigger case on the guy if somebody decides to prosecute. But the thing is, not all our stores and commercial establishments want to prosecute. So we would recommend that people don't try to, because there could be an incident where you're trying to stop someone that the store is not interested in prosecuting. But everybody carries a phone. There's also those ladies that were filmed in Waikele. I don't know if those people were caught yet. But those kind of things are the things that really help us out. Blast it out, let people know that we're going to tell everybody what's going on and show your face all over the place. If you want to do it, then we're going to let everybody know what kind of person you are. So, but by all means, don't get involved physically, because you could get hurt. And again, call the police, make the report, be a good witness, talk to the store, let them know what you saw, and hopefully, if they do want to prosecute, they can use your statement.
Just snatch the mask off. That's all.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Somebody should have just pulled that guy's mask off and get his picture and walk away.
All right, thank you, and thank you for all you do for our community.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I have the HFD's report in front of me real quick. Let me go over this. Let's see, incident statistics for June 2023. Fires, structure fire was 3, wildland brush fire 8, nuisance fire 5, cooking 0, activated alarm, no fire is 5. Emergency medical 169, motor vehicle collision with pedestrian 0, motor vehicle crash and collision 7, mountain rescue 0, ocean rescue 0, hazardous material incident 2. Nuisance fire, including rubbish fires outside a structure or vehicle. Oh, that's the highlighted one. Okay. Fire safety tip and announcement. Grilling safety. Keep these tips in mind as you enjoy your summer events and activities with your family and friends. Always use barbecue grills outside, away from doors, windows, vents, and other building openings. Place grill well away from siding and deck railing and out from under eaves and overhanging branches according to the manufacturer's instruction. Keep children and pets at least 3 feet away from cooking areas and keep starter fluid, lighters, and matches out of children's reach. Cook with caution, be alert, and stay at the grill while cooking. Never leave a hot barbecue attended. Light a propane grill only with a cover open. If the flame is on, the propane grill is goes out. Turn on the grill and the gas and wait at least 5 minutes before relighting it. Periodically remove grease or fat buildups on trays below the grill so it cannot be ignited by a hot grill. Let coals completely cool before disposing a metal container or dispose in a metal container. Never empty coals directly into the trash. Do not store the grill on a porch or balcony, including any porch or balcony on the upper level of a building. Always store propane gas outside of buildings or garages. Remember to properly inspect and maintain the tank, filling and tubing according to the manufacturer's instructions. Vapors leaks outside can easily ignite by pilot lights or electrical equipment, causing explosions. So that would be the HFD report for July. Now we're moving on to board administration and planning. Meeting determination, date, time, location, format from August 23rd to June 24th. Same date, same time, same location.
I make the motion that we keep everything the same. Same date, same time, same location.
I'll second that.
Okay.
John Roger.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Oh. Well, that was a late aye for okay or no? Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. So it's same time, second Thursday, 7 o'clock here at the Ever Beach Library. Got it. And it's a hybrid meeting. Okay, moving on to determination of board recess schedule from August to June of next year. And I think normally we do December and May.
I recommend we retain December and May, December for the holiday season and May because it's graduation season.
And May, the room not available, so that's why we take.
Oh.
That's why I say May. Yeah.
I recommend that we maintain a recess during the month of December and during the month of May. Reason being holidays in December and graduation and the facilities are not available in May.
Second the motion.
Anybody got any other requests? No. Seeing none, all in favor? Okay, any opposed? Abstain? Seeing none, okay, we'll keep the December and May. Okay, adoption of oral testimony rules.
I would like to make a motion that we keep the same oral testimony rules that we currently are using.
Any second? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, okay, adopted. Establishment of committees and committee chairs and co-chairs. You know what, let's do that at the end of the, can we do that at the end? Yeah, we'll move that to when we get to committees. If we get there. Number 9, the committees part for the chairs. Okay, approval of regular meeting minutes for Thursday, June 8, 2023.
I motion to approve the minutes for the June meeting.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any corrections? Seeing none, thank you.
Aloha.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we allowed to, yeah, there is a correction for the minutes. This is Tara Rojas. You have
Okay,
me
go ahead.
listed correctly on the attendance as or ROJAS And all throughout the minutes in this month and previous months, it's actually erroneously ROXAS. And also, just for the record, it was my son who testified as well, not my daughter.
Got it.
Yeah, and there was also, if the time, to present pretty much at every meeting, if I saw that it kind of went more very summarized and didn't really capture everything that I've shared. And so I was wondering if that could be also, improved upon on the summary of the minutes testimony that we give. Mahalo.
Already. Yeah, a lot of the meeting minutes are summarized. Yeah, the videos are on Olelo if you wanna, watch the correction. But we'll take that into consideration. Thank you. And we'll make the corrections. Okay, moving on to resolution regarding Jinshi Development Hawaii by Golden Lion for adoption. This was the resolution that came up to the board last month. And Janalyn did some revisions to it. Were you guys able to read the resolution?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Jana.
Is it my time to read it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay. So this is a resolution in opposition of cluster development at 91-603 Pakapuna Road and urging consideration of community input in the development of the parcel. I just want to give forewarning. This is a little long, but it's okay because there's a lot of history with this. So whereas the Eva Neighborhood Board is the elected body of community residents representing over 70,000 Eva Neighborhood residents, and whereas Pakapuna Road is home to a shoreline community living in residences of old plantation home character in Eva Neighborhood, and has a long-time vacant 2.74 acre shoreline parcel at 91-603 Pakapuna Road, and whereas in June 2019, the Eva Neighborhood Board community was alarmed by excavation work taking place on the shoreline property by Golden Line LLC. Complaints by local neighbors about the potential harm to the coastline were raised to DLNR, bringing a halt to the work. And whereas on July 11, 2019, the Eva Neighborhood Board publicly convened, in light of his concern, Jim Mao came to the board to speak about the plans for the lot and clear up any misunderstanding that may have happened and apologized for not coming to the community sooner. Mao presented a plan of a 15 residential lot subdivision. The board chair at the time asked Mao to come back and give updates as the project moves forward, and Mao noted that he will come back to the board with updates. And whereas on November 22, 2022, Roy K. Yamamoto Architects submitted a DEA or draft environmental assessment with anticipated finding of no significant impact, also known as DEA the FONSI, for a cluster development on 91-603 Pakapuna Road for Jinshi Development Hawaii Limited, a development company of foreign investors. And whereas Jinshi Development Hawaii proposes to construct a residential cluster of 21 units of housing with a pool and pavilion under a cluster development permit on the same parcel of concern to the community. And whereas the proposed development proposes implementation of flood risk strategies, such as raising the grade of the lot and building retaining walls that do not consider flood risks to existing adjacent housing, properties, and roads, which currently experience frequent flooding due to inadequate storm drain infrastructure. And whereas the proposed density and design of the development is inconsistent with the existing neighborhood character, and the proposed perimeter wall or fence design suggests segregation of the development from the community rather than a seamless or complementary integration of the proposed development. And whereas the proposed cluster design of elevated homes and tall perimeter retaining wall/fence will induce urban heat island effect, blocking ocean breezes and trade winds that provide natural ventilation and cooling to neighboring residents and their homes. indirectly imposing higher energy usage and expenses for mechanical cooling within the neighboring properties and their residents. And whereas the proposed parking on the development appears to be insufficient for the potential number of prospective tenants and may cause parking overflow onto the narrow and crowded street of Pakapuna Road, where parking options remain scarce. And whereas the DEA acknowledges that public shoreline access is not required and that a direct path toward the shoreline may not be provided through the parcel as a part of the project design, suggesting lacking commitment to public access on the parcel, despite statement by Jim Mao at the July 2019 board meeting that the developer planned to designate one lot for community park. And whereas the DEA articulates that the proposed development was discussed at a meeting of the neighborhood board on July 11, 2019, the project was presented at a very preliminary stage of design, so it is due for another update presentation. And whereas the proposed design presented in the DA is not the same nor similar to the proposed development presented at the July 2019 board meeting, and that the Evan Neighborhood Board did not receive an update throughout the DEA process. And whereas on January 18, 2023, DPP transmitted the DEA for publication on February 8, 2023 edition of the environmental notice, initiating the statutory 30-day public review and comment period ending March 10, 2023. And whereas the Evan Neighborhood Board and neighborhood residents were not made aware of the DEA by the submitting agency or developers, despite public commitment by Jim Mao on behalf of the developers of the 91-603 Pakapuna Road lot, that updates will be provided as the project progresses, allowing the progression of such plans of development to occur without official consultation and the neighborhood stakeholders. And whereas the public review and comment period passed without comment from neighboring residents of the Pakapuna Road property or the board. In the months of April and May 2023, Pakapuna residents Kenneth Liu and Tim Lee later became aware of the situation and were steadfast to communicate with DPP and neighboring residents about how to remain engaged to allow for public comment to be considered in the Pakapuna development process. Whereas during this period, Pakapuna Road neighbors and Eva Beach residents developed documentation of their concerns and opposition to the cluster development on set address. A written review of the DEA and list of recommendations on development design and process was drafted by the community. This, along with a letter outlining the main concerns of the project, was sent to Mayor Rick Blangiardi and copied to Councilman Augie Tolba and Senator Kurt Favela. And whereas a petition to stop the cluster development on Pakapuna Road was also created with over 400 signatures from local residents in support of stopping the proposed cluster development. And whereas June 8, 2023, the Evan Neighborhood Board convened, Pakapuna neighbors Kenneth Liu and Tim Lee presented to the board an overview of the cluster development project design and development process and outlined the community's concerns and recommendations. And whereas the concerns of development includes impacts to existing neighborhood, including destruction of character of the community, probable increase in flood risk from the proposed development to existing residential lots, and blockage of wind and sun to neighboring properties, and to the existing infrastructure, which includes strain on sewer and storm drainage systems, probable increase to traffic congestion, and probable increase in street parking density. And whereas a major concern of the development process is the lack of community outreach from the cluster development agencies. For this, the community expressed feelings of no trust in the cluster development and its developers. Whereas upon the committee's review of the DA, the community outlined recommendations to the development, and the recommendations are as follows. No cluster, so limit to 8 dwelling units that will align with the existing community layout and conform to R5 codes and setbacks in order to reduce an undue strain on sewage drainage infrastructure and traffic parking impact that the cluster design may induce. 2, no regrading, so prohibit raising the grade and perimeter retaining walls. Use of post-pier construction instead to protect development from flooding without increasing flood risk to neighbors, and limit fencing to 6-foot height from existing elevation to prevent blocking wind and sun to neighboring properties. And 3, consider the neighboring community developers to host town halls to engage and address community concerns, integration of development with the community to avoid perimeter fencing that isolates or segregates, provide a public park on the property, as stated by developer spokesman Jim Mao at the July 2019 board meeting, which would also provide community access to the ocean. Sorry, I'm almost there. Whereas the DEA outlined alternatives to the 21 housing unit proposal, including an 8 dwelling unit plan that proposes a housing density that resembles more of the surrounding density character on Pakapuna Road. And whereas the 8 unit alternative suggests 3 times less impact of increased vehicular traffic on the road than the proposed cluster development, and also suggests 3 times less raw sewage added to the existing sewer and drainage infrastructure, which has historically experienced land ruptures and caused spills on the road. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Ever Neighborhood Board supports development proposals that respectfully considers the condition of and resemblance to adjacent properties, has concern for the physical and community environment, and responds to related issues such as climate change and sea level rise with smart and soft engineering approaches. And be it further resolved that the board supports a development proposal process inclusive of proper consultation with neighboring residents and affected individuals and entities, and that development in the even Ever neighborhood without due diligence, inclusive of proper and direct consultation of neighboring residents and or the board, is concerning and unacceptable. And be it further resolved, the Ever Neighborhood Board opposes the proposed cluster development at 91-603 Pahakapuna Road. And be it further resolved, the board shares the concerns of the residents of the Pahakapuna Road area and believes that the progression in the plans and development of the lot is not progressing in good faith, as neither group of residents were properly consulted about the proposed development by its developers. And be it further resolved, the board shares concerns about probable design impacts to the surrounding neighborhood as articulated in the community comments and letter provided by the Pahakapuna Road residents, and urges the agencies involved in the cluster development to seriously consider the comments and recommendations outlined by the Pahakapuna Road community. And be it further resolved that the Ever Neighborhood Board urges the developers of the 91-603 Pahakapuna Road lot to pursue the project alternative of 8 dwelling units with consideration of input by the Pahakapuna Road community, design strategies that address their concerns, and with respectful consideration of the current infrastructure and environmental issues of climate change, urban heat island effect, and sea level rise. And be it further resolved that the board urges consultation and supports collaboration between the Pahakapuna Road community and the cluster development developers, including but not limited to community input in the design process and construction on the lot. And be it further resolved that the board urges the City and County of Honolulu Department of Planning and Permitting to specify restriction on the road on the 91-603 Pahakapuna Road development to 8 units, and a prohibition on raising the grade on any special management area permit issued for this development. And be it finally resolved that copies of this resolution be sent to our mayor, the city council, DPP, RM Towel Corporation, and Jinshi Development Hawaii. Thank you.
All right. Go get a drink of water. Very good. Thank you, Jana. Thank you for all your hard work. Okay. Discussion. Go ahead, John. So we made a motion. Okay. Make the motion.
I make a motion to support the resolution in opposition of cluster development at 91-603 Pahakapuna Road and urging consideration of community input in development of the parcel.
Second that.
Okay, discussion.
First of all, Jana, excellent, outstanding job. I'll make this quick. This is an extensive resolution, and I think it perfectly captures not only the spirit of what the board wants to communicate, but it sets a precedent for what's expected of developers and anyone that plans on doing something in the Ever community. This board, although we are only an advisory board and we have been, I think, attacked at times for not being enough of an active board, even though we're only limited so much of what we can do, but we can do some things. And Jana Lynn's hard work in putting this together, to me, perfectly reflects what we expect developers and other people that want to conduct business in our community to do.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
Second what John said.
Julie, go ahead.
I've actually heard Tim and Kenny speak at the mayor's town hall back in March about this topic. I've heard them speak at our board. I've visited the site with them on June 12th. I spent, I think, about maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours with Kenny and Tim and Kenny's wife. looking at this parcel and them showing me all the paperwork and things that they were looking at here, and walking on Puakupuna Road and seeing the area. And honestly, the board, I know that we're just an advisory board, but what we should do is support something like this to really help the community. And everything that John Clark had said about making sure that we tell developers that they need to make sure that they follow rules, and that they collaborate with the community. Because I know that I looked at emails that Kenny had showed me, on paper, as well as forwarded to me, between him and DPP, and it's hard to try to work with DPP to be able to get comment in. They were telling them about comment periods, and as just a regular Joe trying to figure out how to navigate the permitting process, I think sometimes they can't figure out when that 30-day period was, who were they supposed to submit comments to, and then figure out after the fact that the 30 days were over, and things like that. And that's kind of what they were doing. And I think something like this, where we say, as the board, we're going to submit it at the end to all of these different people on behalf of not only the residents there, but on behalf of Eva. I think this is something that's really important that we should do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Alex.
I just want to recognize, thanks, Julie, for supporting this effort. And I want to recognize the community members for stepping up. I think that when something happens in your neighborhood and you don't feel right about it, that's exactly what needs to happen. And it needs to be in an organized fashion, and try to fight, even if you don't know the mechanisms and the avenues to do it, do something, right? And in a constructive manner. And I just want to applaud you guys for your effort in pushing this together, and Jana for helping write it all up. So.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so Jen, I just want to add thank you very much for preparing this resolution, and particularly for the historical research that went into all of those whereas clauses, helping us to understand the context going all the way back to 2019, well before I at least was on this board, and I think several other people here. So very much appreciated. With that, I wanted to return to the recommendations that were in the letter from the community. There were 6 of them. The first was to limit the development to 8 units. The second was to extend the flood assessment to consider the impacts on neighboring lots. The third was to limit the grading, the wall, and the post-pier design corrections. The fourth related to the fencing, to make sure that the fencing was appropriate, and the concerns about the urban heat island effect. The fifth was to evaluate the infrastructure and confirm the capacity, particularly stormwater and the water mains, if I understood that correctly. And also, yeah, water, sewage, wastewater, and the roads, of course, as well, with the parking. And then the sixth was to host a town hall. So for those who don't know me, I was trained as an urban planner. I was very disturbed by your presentation. And so I read the DEA myself. And of these, I think that it is the role of the neighborhood board. I support extending the flood assessment to this neighboring lots. That makes sense. And I also am concerned about the size of the grade. It seems, though it's necessary to raise the grade to some extent to comply with the city's new climate change mitigation mandates, it seems well out of proportion with what we would expect to comply with that alone. I support hosting a town hall related to this with the developers, with DPP, and with the Board of Water Supply. And I support number 5 to confirm the capacity of all of the infrastructure. However, because this is such a preliminary site plan, I think that 3 and 4, the conversation relating to designs, the wall, the fencing, those are, it's premature to list those in a resolution. I think it'd be more appropriate to invite the developer to come and speak and clarify in some cases, because we do have to make we've had to make assumptions off of very limited information with the site plan. And I think the developer needs an opportunity to clarify. The only recommendation that I do not agree with is the first recommendation to limit to 8 units. There are a couple of reasons for this. The primary reason is because that everything the developer has proposed is consistent with the law, with the general plan, and with the development plan for Eva. They're well within their rights to propose this, and we're in a position as a region and as an island where we desperately need additional housing. This is a rare, large lot, 2.74 acres, that exists in this neighborhood, and I think we need to maximize the space.
Wrap it up.
So thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Wayne, go ahead.
I just wanted to say earlier, this resolution, there's a way for the community to really support those that are affected directly by this development. And for too long, the Everplains and even in Ho'opili, developers are known to overrun these types of concerns that we as citizens have. And as an advisory board to the community or even to local government, the thing that we need as a community to do is to write your council member, write to the Square Building a letter or email of some type explaining your concerns. Truly, that does work. If not, go there personally, because as a neighborhood board, an advisory board, we're limited. I mean, resolutions, we can write it all day long, and where does it go, right? But I totally support this, and we need to hold all of the developers in this area accountable, right? So not only these guys that are affected by it, but the community as a whole should get involved. And I agree that we need more housing, affordable, right? There's no question about that. But they gotta do it pono. Basic pono. What is hard about that? We're not asking for the world. Just do the right thing, right? Mahalo.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
Make the motion for a vote.
We have one.
Oh.
We have one community hand raised up. Tara, go ahead.
Aloha. Yes, and I am for this resolution, and I would strongly like to state for everything that you have mentioned here, that it said, like the board member Kaiwi also said, that it set a precedent, that you stand up, you said you stand up and applaud the effort by the community when things are not right. You said, it's in the resolution, segregation of community and community not advised. It's the destruction of character of community. It's a strain of infrastructure, sewer, water, traffic, lack of communication outreach, and just the fact that it's not right. This area was rural area until all the developers came in. And so again, for every single thing mentioned in this Jinchi development resolution, yes, set that as a precedent. I am 100% for this. And everything said in there should also, in addition to this 21 cluster development opposition, should be for the 1,800 residential, hotel residential units by HASEPO plan, the last month's June 120 or so DHHL and HASEPO contract. And again, for any the Kalailo development, this needs to be the precedent for this whole area, because 1,800, 100, who knows how many, for 600 maybe, I don't know, for the Kalailo is much more than 21. So yes, set this as a precedent for all development. So I fully support this. Mahalo.
Thank you. Jana, you got your hand up?
Yes, I just wanted to quickly respond to Trey's comment. Thanks, Trey, for pointing that out. For anyone who might be concerned that this resolution may sound like we're locking into limiting to the 8 units, that's not necessarily true. The recommendations is to support the 8-unit alternative because that was one of the alternatives. But it's mostly heavily supporting the recommendation that the developers collaborate with the Pakapuna community in terms of what happens with the parcel. So even from my own background, I understand like it might not even turn into an 8-unit parcel, it might change into something else. So just the resolution is pretty flexible in supporting whatever the Pakapuna residents support for that parcel. So it's not just stuck to the 8 units if anyone's concerned.
Thank you, Jenna. Okay. You have something to say? Step up to the mic, your name and your.
I'm Kenny Liu. My house backs up to the lot. I want to thank you all because I know this is a volunteer board, but please, if you can, I would really like you folks to come out to my house. My house backs up and you can see what's being proposed. And I know it's preliminary, but still it's one thing to look at it on a 2-dimensional piece of paper. It's another thing to really look at it. And Trey, I know you're new to the board. I don't know if you saw last month's presentation. If you come to my house and you see what the wall looks like that they're proposing to do, the wall fence combination, I have all the information from the DPP. It basically will turn a bunch of our houses into caves. The fence will be higher than our eaves, you know, blocking all our winds. The way our houses are oriented, our houses were already there. They're not designed to be in this type of development. This development is designed for a master plan community, not for an existing plantation style community. And please, you have an open invitation to come to my house. I'll cook dinner. I'm a lousy cook, but I'll cook. Beers, boo-boos. Yeah, bring your fishing pole. There's one other thing I'd like to bring up. This came from the DPP. And I asked, how were we supposed to be informed about the period to comment? And it said, the DEA, the draft environmental assessment, is sent to agencies and the neighborhood board for comment. Did you folks ever receive it? Because I remember, I know Mike Plowman pretty well. He didn't make it through, but he said he never saw anything. And that would have come, let's see, the letter seeking comments was dated February 10th, 2023. So, I mean, we had no idea. Nobody knew about it. We didn't know we could comment. We didn't know where to comment. And by the time we found out about it, they told us the period to comment's closed and that's it. They're not opening it. And the only other time we would have to comment that they would be forced to respond is in the SMA hearing, the special management area hearing, and that might be in a year. So that is, I don't know, it seems ludicrous that they could just go and do all these plans and develop, and we have to sit on our hands and, I don't know what, yell at our TV set and kick the dog. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing it to our attention. And thank you to the community for coming out again. Okay. Call for the vote.
Chair, if it's all right, I have just one more thing to add briefly.
Oh, go ahead, Chair.
To respond to Jana's point from before, if I accept that, and if that is the case, the one amendment that I believe we need to make to the resolution before we make a vote and it's submitted is to I believe it's the second to last, further resolved. There is a, let me pull it up. So that, yes, the second to last, be it further resolved, says that the Evan Board urges the city and county of Honolulu Department of Planning and Permitting to specify a restriction on 91603 to 8 units and a prohibition on the grade. The restriction on 8 units, to my knowledge, that would be an illegal spot zoning. So I don't think it makes sense to place that into the resolution. It's already listed, urging to choose the 8-unit site plan alternative in a previous, be it further resolved. So I think that if we kept this in with the knowledge that, again, as far as I know, it's illegal to propose this for one property developer against everyone else's rights, let everyone else do something and this property developer not to. So I think it would undermine our case to leave this in.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to speak to Trey's comment. I'm open to, I think if we were to remove that, be it further resolve statement, I don't think it will change the intent of the resolution in the rest of the be it from the be it rest of the be it further resolve statement. So if you're proposing that we amend that we remove that, I'm okay with that.
Yes, that is my proposal. Thank you.
I'd like to comment on that 8 units. You say that you're saying that it would be illegal or it's not legal to limit this developer because of other developers
Sorry,
trying.
excuse me. Before you start, what is your name?
Oh, Louis Rogers.
Louis Rogers. Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, go
my
ahead.
Brother right there. Okay. Okay. Anyway, this from Pahakapuna and Ever Beach is not someplace else. Okay. You don't have that land space. And the 21 units is ridiculous. 8 units is normal. So whatever someone is doing some other place has nothing to do with Ever Beach, particularly that lot. Okay, so I'm just saying, I don't know the legalities. It's common sense. This is not some other place. And this place is not what it was when I first got here. I believe in change, but that lot has been there forever, undeveloped, full of trash, machinery, everything else. I don't know how many hands it's turned over to, but to let it go larger than 8 is too much. Okay? We have a lot of problems on Pahakapuna as it is. There's no place to walk or ride your bike. And if you put in more than 8 units there, every person, every household right now has 4 cars. So you're putting in that much more traffic trying to come out. And that lot is near the intersection. Right now, we don't have any accidents. Pahakapuna, that's a no stop going through there. And now you're going to have all this other traffic trying to get out, trying to get in, and park on Pahakapuna because there's no space in there to park 4 times 8 cars. You understand what I'm saying? Not to mention the people. So Ever Beach and Pahakapuna is not someplace else that other people are developing. That's all I have to say.
Sure.
Yeah, let's go. So, you have
Yeah, just, Jana said that she has no issue with it. I would also like to underscore the point that we are an advisory board. And the language that's currently in there just says that we urge the city and county of Honolulu Department of Planning and Permitting. We're not directing them. We're simply advising and urging them on behalf of the community. So I don't see any legalese splitting hairs here. We're just repeating what the community has asked us to do. Yeah, but again, we're urging them to. We're not telling them to. We're just saying, hey, can you do it? Will you do it?
Thank you. So I guess we have a motion from Trey saying that taking out that second to the last, be it further resolved. And Jana said there wouldn't be a problem. So that's a motion on the table for the amendment to this resolution. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Sorry, Chair. Shouldn't there be discussion on the motion before we take a vote?
Okay, go ahead.
Well, Chair, can I?
Go ahead, Chris.
I'm just worried that with the edit, there'd be inconsistency in the resolution as the place is mentioned 8 numerous times throughout the document. And so it would have to be for every single time it's mentioned, not just in the whereas, but also the resolve, where it's mentioned multiple times too. So I'm worried about by taking it out, there'd be inconsistency in the document.
Chair, can I comment on that? So I just want to point out that we're urging in multiple places for the 8 unit limit. We're urging that. We just want to X out the part that says that we restrict we asked them to restrict it, right? So we are supporting the idea that it's 888. We're just not asking the DPP to restrict it to that because that's not our place. I think that's the point that's being made. I would support that. And I think that we should make a motion to vote on it with that removed from the resolution. It's still supporting the idea of 8 units.
Can I just clarify though, but what would be the difference then? I mean, that's not clear to me. If it were saying 8 elsewhere, then why, this is a problem just because it says we specify a restriction. It's not clear to me what the difference is. Like, I guess I don't understand what removing it accomplishes.
I'd be happy to clarify if it's all right. So on the previous page, it says, be it further resolved, the Evan Neighborhood Board urges the developers to pursue the project alternative of 8 dwelling units. That is entirely appropriate and within our powers. The point that I am making is this sort of what seems to be a redundant point on the next page, which says we urge them to specify a restriction on the property. Such a restriction is outside of DPP's authority. It would in fact be illegal for them to simply say this property is not allowed to do a cluster or a subdivision, but everyone else can. That's not to say that we can't ask the developer to do that we can't urge that site plan to be adopted. But the point is that DPP cannot compel them in this specific moment to do what is outside of their rights to do, as is consistent for any other property owner.
Okay. Jana, go ahead.
I just want to back what Trey was saying, that we are correct to be able to support one of the project alternatives that was outlined in the DEA, which was the 8 unit 8 dwelling unit option. And then I also agree with like just removing the statement. So just because the 8 unit is repetitive in the resolution, it does not necessarily mean that we are stuck with supporting only 8 units.
Okay, any other questions? Discussion? Seeing none, okay, call for the vote. All in favor?
Of the amendment.
Yeah, with the amendment of removing, be it further resolved with the specified restriction on it, and keeping the rest of the resolution intact. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I know. Liam. Jamaica.
Aye.
John Clark.
Aye.
Jana De La Cruz.
Aye.
Alex.
Aye.
Trey.
Point of clarification, this vote is to accept the amendment or to accept the resolution as amended?
The amendment to
The
remove that clause.
Thank you. Aye.
Wayne.
Aye.
Julie.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Corey.
Aye.
Mitch. 11-0 passed.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Again, sorry, thanks, David. Again, this is a process, like last month, we have to go through the process. This is the process. And this wouldn't have happened without you guys' help, without the community's help. And thank you guys again. All right, now everybody can clap. All right, moving on.
We voted on the, now you get not amend. We have to vote on both of them.
Oh, man, my bad.
Okay, so you're voting on to accept the resolution as amended. Okay?
All in favor?
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose?
Aye.
Oppose?
The amendment is essential to retain legality.
Yeah, so as amended. Right, so it's now as amended.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. The first motion was, that you used previously was to remove that clause. So now that we go back to the main motion to vote on the resolution as amended. So, okay, so Trey, you said no.
That's correct.
Okay.
I support the amendment. I oppose the rest.
Okay. Anybody abstain? No, okay. So it is 10-1-0. Passed.
All right, thank you again. Yee-hoo. All right. Moving on. Okay, presentation, Pearl Harbor Naval National Wildlife Refuge in Eva by Christina Chin. Is she here? Online?
Hi there.
All right.
All right. Aloha. Thank you for having me tonight. Today I'll be presenting about our National Wildlife Refuge there in Eva. So I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know if you're able to see it.
Yes, we can
Yes,
see it.
thank you. All right. So yeah, in Eva, we have a National Wildlife Refuge right in Pearl Harbor. So I'll just go in a little bit about me first. I'm the Deputy Project Leader and Wildlife Refuge Manager for the Oahu Maui National Wildlife Refuge Complex. This complex includes not just the Pearl Harbor Refuge, but also James Campbell National Wildlife Refuge in Kahuku and Oahu Forest National Wildlife Refuge in the Ko'olau Mountain Range, as well as the Kealia Pond Refuge on Maui and the Kakahaia Refuge on Molokai. So my background is that my family immigrated to the US from Taiwan, and I was born and raised in Austin. And I moved here after moving around a lot in October of, well, actually I started my position here in October of 2022. So I'm still learning a lot about Hawaii myself. So prior to joining the service, I was a research conservation scientist with projects primarily in Texas, Taiwan, and Australia. And I got my bachelor's of science at Cornell University and my PhD at Texas A&M University. For fun, I enjoy rock climbing and hiking with my dogs. So, all right, a little background about Pearl Harbor. So Pearl Harbor National Wildlife Refuge, as you know, is in Eva. We have a few units, though. We have 3 units, if you can see. And we also have Oahu Forest National Wildlife Refuge and James Campbell National Wildlife Refuge in on Oahu. So let's see if I can make this. So it's amidst the naval facilities and urban development. This refuge was established in 1972 as mitigation for construction of the Honolulu International Airport's reef runway. There were cooperative efforts between the Federal Aviation Administration, the state of Hawaii, the Navy, and the National Wildlife, the Fish and Wildlife Service, and made Pearl Harbor National Wildlife Refuge a valued asset and a key Oahu wetland for recovery of our endangered Hawaiian waterbirds. So we have 3 units. There's the Honouliuli unit, the Waiawa unit, and the Kaleloa unit, which I will get into a little later. And they provide wetland habitat for 4 of Hawaii's endangered waterbirds, the Io, which is the Hawaiian stilt, the Ale Keo Keo, the Hawaiian coot, the Alaiula, which is the Hawaiian moorhen, and the Koloa Maoli, which is the Hawaiian duck. So the first unit is the Waiawa unit. It's located on the west side of the Pearl City Peninsula. As you can see, there's 2 ponds. The second is the Honouliuli unit, which is located on the west shore of the West Loch of Pearl Harbor. So these units were the original 2 units, and they're managed under a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Navy to provide wetland habitat for the water birds, the Hawaiian endangered water birds. And they were established as part of that reef runway mitigation. They're technically easements on Navy land. So we do not own these refuge units, but they are easements on Navy land. So the Waiawa unit is relatively small at 24.5 acres, and the Honouliuli unit is not much larger at 36.6 acres. However, it does provide a very productive habitat for our water birds. And this past year, we've had over 160 coots fledge already from that wetland. So our last unit in Pearl Harbor is Kaleloa, and it is located on the flat coastal Ewa Plain, approximately 7 miles southwest of Pearl Harbor. It was established in 2001 to protect and enhance the habitat for the endangered coastal dryland plants Ewa hina hina and Akoko. It's 37.5 acres, and it was formerly part of the Barbers Point Naval Air Station. So this is one of the only national wildlife refuges in the U.S. to be established for plants. So the purpose of these refuges is to protect, provide habitat, and aid in recovery efforts for endangered wildlife and plants. So these are some of the endemic water birds that we protect and enhance habitat for. So on the top left, we have the Hawaiian coot, the Alaikeokeo. Bottom left is the Io, or the Hawaiian stilt. Top right is the Kaloa maoli, or the Hawaiian duck, and the bottom right is the Alaiula, or Hawaiian gallinule or moorhen. So we conduct surveys and monitoring. We make sure that the birds are doing well, that we're keeping track of how many that we're actually fledging. So having the birds produce in those areas. And we try to do our best to make sure that the habitat is safe for them. And to keep them safe, we have to do invasive species control, as there's many invasive predators and species that threaten our native wildlife. So a few that we deal with are, we have to trap for mammalian predators like cats and mongoose, which are the largest killers of our native birds, besides mosquitoes, of course, for the forest birds, but largest killers of our native water birds, I should say. So we have mammalian exclusion fencing at the Honouliuli unit to help keep them out, but we do not currently have fencing at our other units, although it would be great if we could obtain some fencing. We also have bullfrogs and bulrush, and bullfrogs can also eat our chicks when they're smaller. They are invasive, and bulrush, California bulrush, is invasive as well, and it tends to take over the entire ponds. So it just kind of gets rid of habitat. So we do have to control those as well. We also have barn owls, so not our native pueo, but barn owls that were introduced, and they eat our native birds. They will hunt them. So we try our best to control barn owls. There are yellow crazy ants, which can also not just take down some of our native insects like the yellow-faced bee, but they can kill birds as large as albatross. So they're pretty, we really need to get those under control. And of course, encroachment of other invasive plants like kiave and halekoa that crowd out our native plants. To accomplish everything that we need to do for these wildlife and plants, we team up with other groups and we have partnerships as our team is pretty small. So a few of the partnerships we have are with the State of Hawaii, the University of Hawaii, Kupu Conservation Leadership Program, which provides us interns who are interested in biology and conservation, as well as maintenance. We also have the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation partnership and the Ko'olau Mountains Watershed Partnership. So if you're ever interested in getting involved with us, we do have internships through Kupu, and there's also a new internship that we just started this year for maintenance as well. We also get a little help from our friends, our official friends group, the Friends of Oahu National Wildlife Refuge. This group helps us with many needs across the refuge, including public outreach, volunteer work, and a little bit of funding. They do have tiered membership costs for students and seniors. So the costs are generally low and were recently made available as this friends group was just established this past year. They also are the ones who conduct bird tours at James Campbell National Wildlife Refuge in Kahuku from October to February. So if people are interested in touring one of the refuges, that is a good way to do it. So other ways to get involved are joining our established community partners in their permitted activities. So for example, the Hawaii Nature Center is a longtime community partner that engages with school-aged kids at our Honolulu unit. The University of Hawaii for college students also has many researchers that pursue research projects on our native wildlife on the refuges. We also host regular work days, community work days at the Kaleloa unit to help weed and outplant native plants. And in doing so, we can help educate and do outreach about our native species and help them in the meantime. So please let me know if you're interested in learning more about these types of opportunities, and I can get you in touch with the people who can help you get involved. But most of all, and most importantly, we need our community's help in protecting these natural and cultural resources at the refuge. So due to our proximity to town with the Pearl Harbor National Wildlife Refuge, we are an urban refuge. We're considered an urban refuge. And we have many interactions with the public due to this location. So often fires, illegal dumping, and other illicit activities occur right outside our boundaries and sometimes even within. And additionally, urban refuges are built in busy areas with lots of, like, as you were just discussing at length, development and activity around our endangered wildlife. And once in a while, these birds do leave these refuges to the surrounding areas because they're not kept within our boundaries. And when they do go outside our refuge, they're exposed to nearby activities and development, and sometimes to great detriment and loss of life. So
Wrap it up.
okay, so we heavily rely on our communities to inform us of any of these illegal activities and to help us protect our wildlife in and around our refuges. So please don't hesitate to contact us if you see something happening. One big reason we ask our community to engage is due to the Betty Bliss Memorial Overlook, which you are probably familiar with, burned down. So this is a publicly accessible overlook at our Honolulu unit. It was built and opened in 2016 to honor Betty Bliss. And tragically, it was burned down in December of 2021. And it was a devastating loss for the refuge and the community. But thankfully, several community members helped report the fire before it spread beyond the structure, but much of the structure was irreparable after it was set aflame. So, however, I'm happy to report that we were able to rebuild and recommemorate the overlook, which was officially reopened on May 9th of this year. So please go visit it and help us keep an eye on it. We hope we don't have to rebuild it anytime soon, and so that it's around for many generations to enjoy. Again, we greatly appreciate our community's help in protecting our ecological and cultural resources. So please reach out. Any questions?
Thank you. Yeah, Christina, can you put all your information and those phone numbers onto the chat room as well?
Yes, I can do
Okay,
that.
any questions for the board? Okay, go ahead, Corey. And then-
Thank you for your presentation.
Leo?
Just one question. Does your organization have anything to do with the Westlock restoration project as well?
No, we don't. We just have our refuges within those boundaries.
Okay, thank you.
Liam, go ahead. You had something? Oh, no? Oh, John, go ahead.
Hi, Christina. Thank you so much for this presentation. I'm really happy that you were able to do this and talk about the refuges. I'm just, I was just so happy to see when you folks rebuilt the overlook. I'm a Westlock Fairways homeowner there. I live in that neighborhood. So that, I pass that refuge many days a week. There's a couple of concerns with the refuge, and I think I emailed you about this, is that gate that you use as a service road into the refuge. That's a city and county gate, but I guess what I'm going to ask is your help advocating with the city and county and other organizations, HECO, Island Energy, all those folks. I need your help to get that gate closed. And I just with that gate open, there's vehicles, we've seen them go all the way to the Honouliuli stream, and they park right by the because they can't go any further because the bridge is too skinny for a car to cross. So and I know there's activity at night and stuff like that. And so I believe part of the reason why that the overlook was burnt is because people were able to access that area with a vehicle. I mean, there's a lot of accelerant. Maybe they carried it in. I don't know, but there was a lot of gasoline or whatever they used to start the fire, because that wasn't going to burn on its own. So that's so I'm just asking if we can work together with that and trying to get this gate permanently locked, with access to only people who need it. It was always locked up until about 2005. And then somehow it got open, broken, and now it's fixed, though. It's repaired. It's just now we got to have someone coordinate the locking of it and how the keys or the combo or how that's all going to work. The second thing is the Waiava refuge. I ride the Pearl Harbor Historic Trail all the time, and there it's kind of like has a fence a fence around it, and the whole gate and everything. You probably know this is like was always locked, and now it's like ripped out. Like they ripped it out and threw it to the side of the bike path. And so I've seen this it's been about a year now that it's been like that. And if I'm informing you, that's cool, and I'm hoping that you already know about it. But that's one thing. Thank you, Christina, for being here.
Thank you, John.
Any question?
Did you
Yeah,
did you need a response, or is that more of comments?
This right now is just comments.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just a
Alex?
quick question on clarifying like the kind of use of the wildlife refuge, Christina. So like the Kaleloa refuge, I've actually gone over there and tried to access it, and I cannot. And so is this something that community members have access to for recreational purposes, or it's it's completely prohibited for use by the public? Can you clarify the usage of that area and access?
Yes. So our refuges on Oahu are not publicly accessible. We do permit access, so you can gain access through a permitting process, but they're not publicly open.
Any other questions from the board? Seeing none, we have one from the community. We have Tara. Go ahead.
Aloha, this is really great to hear. And I do have a question that I'm hoping you can answer. So what you're presenting, is this pertaining or pertinent to Act 221, which requires impacts of like climate change and the preservation of historic sites and culturally significant facilities? Does that have anything to do with endangered preservation and protection of endangered species of flora and fauna? And that should
Is that
yeah.
Is Act 221 a state act?
Oh, that's what I was just actually asking. So
Oh, I see. Okay.
and then
This
let me join it with this other question then. So like when there's laws to comply with, when you receive federal funding, right? So where EISs are, needed to be provided. So I just wanted to clarify that's correct, right? Like what you mentioned in your presentation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of different EIS. There's NEPA, ESA, especially if endangered species are nearby and impacted. Those all need to be complied with.
Okay.
And I think to answer your first question, this refuge was not established, I don't think, for that act. It was established as a mitigation in
Okay.
1972.
And
Mhm.
yeah, and I just was wondering, if you don't mind me asking, how did this presentation come about to be heard today? And it's awesome. So I just was wondering, what's the correlation of how did it get here?
John invited me actually, so thank you, John.
All right, seeing no other questions, thank you again, Christina. Please post it on, I don't know if you posted it yet, but please put it in a chat room, all your information and those numbers to see if any suspicious things are going on. That's your 311, like the city's number, but we can call that 888 number. Got it.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to number 6, residents and community concerns and community announcements. Please come up to the mic, state your name, either your concern or your announcement, please. Thank you.
Karen Luke here. I have a concern with wastewater branch, and I'm disappointed not to see Dr. Babcock here today. Next week, City Council Committee on Public Safety is hearing Resolution 23-165 to construct a sewage system in the Eva District. I'd like to know more about that effort and whether Honolulu is still taking wastewater from Pearl City and receiving daily truckloads of sludge from Sand Island, because that system is unable to do secondary treatment and will cost $1.5 billion to fix. Personally, in 2020, I received a permit to build a single-family home with 1 kitchen for my son. Water and wastewater was connected in February 2021, but I was billed for 2 units like it was a duplex at an additional cost of $77.55 per month. In July, August, October of 2022, I called for correction, but it depends on visual inspection. There's only 1 inspector for the island. When the inspector arrived, she agreed it was a single-family dwelling, but switched the billing for 2 units to my second older home on the same property. Another inspection followed, and this month, base sewer charges were returned to 1 unit, and I received $387 credit for the 5 months I was overcharged. But I've never received credit for the 2 years we were overcharged for my son's home. I was told not to expect it. Why shouldn't I expect credit for an overcharge from this public utility? Is a public utility allowed to run over us like this? Another one. At the end of 2019, Blaze Lovell of Civil Beat reported wastewater sent UH West a $35 million sewer bill for 7 years, calculated on development of its 500 acres and projected 20,000 students, when only 300 acres had been developed and enrollment is under 3,000 units or students. UH West was also being charged over $800,000 for sewage volume dating back to 2012. I've never heard whether these charges have been resolved, and this is why I would like to have Dr. Babcock here or someone from wastewater represented to answer some questions that we have. Thank you.
Any other concerns or announcements from the community? Seeing none, any concern or announcement from the board? Oh, wait, excuse me. We have one. Go ahead, Tara.
Aloha, this is Tara Rojas. So my community concern is that I've been looking at the past, meetings for the year, and it seems to be like a vent session. And I want to really commend the community member just speaking up right now because, one, Babcock was in the Kalaila stakeholders meeting, and I did present to him all the issues with the sewer that have been happening as they're trying to discuss, the supposed upgrade to the Honolulu treatment plant, but I let him know what's happening in Eva, Kalihi, the Honolulu airport, and Kaka'ako even, you know, and just, yes, he needs to be here for this one. So my community concern is this, that I would like this follow-up from the June meeting that I would ask is probably coming up later. I asked for a watershed update for Honouliuli, water main break number update, that's probably coming from the Board of Water later as well. Also, concur that we need this wastewater sewer rep here because you need to take care of the community now and not wait until too late. Just like the presentation on the birds, the sanctuary, you know, that we just saw. Why wait, be hard-headed and wait till too late until you're saving the last little sliver of wildlife? The whole area used to be filled, okay? I want to update on the on-island certified lab. Why, if there one can be, you know, here on Oahu. I would like, you know, the HCDA Kalaila master plan to be discussed. Haseko and DHH development from June that I saw that little snippet from the meeting minutes that were approved about developing an 120, I guess, unit on 15 acres between DHHL and Haseko, that they own the land and DHHL wants them to develop. It's like going round and around and around, and ancestral lands claiming and car system spring water tapping update. So I just pulled that from the June meeting, and I really think we should do this. Otherwise, this is just a vent session. Nothing gets done. Things get passed through, and you heard it in the resolution, the 21 cluster development. When the community stands up, it needs to be heard. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any other concerns or announcements? Okay, go ahead. I can hear you. Your mic, I don't know if it's on or not.
There it is. Okay. For some reason, I had to push it twice. Ms. Rojas, I just want to note that I heard your concern when I was just a community member last month. I had the opportunity to submit a UEPA request for information about main breaks on Oahu. I received the information back a couple of weeks ago, and I'm compiling a data analysis to look more into the issue of main breaks in EVA. It's not ready to talk about with the community yet, but I am working on it, and I am in contact with BWS. So thank you for bringing it up, and we'll continue to work to meet these concerns.
Okay. John, you got something?
Yes. Aloha. My name is John Clark. In addition to the vice chair, I'm also the executive director of Team Building USA. It's a nonprofit that I started about 10, 15 years ago to help develop teenagers. You may remember back during the pandemic, we did a honk and wave right here on Fort Weaver Road. We also did one for Kapolei High School in addition to James Cabell High School. We did an essay writing contest, which my esteemed board member, Corey Rosenly, your daughter, won a laptop during that time frame. So what we're trying to do now is ask the teens what they want. So our nonprofit typically comes up, the adults come up with the ideas, and then we go out into the community and we do the ideas from an adult lens. But take a look at our website. I would ask your teens, your teenagers, and we basically service 8th graders through 12th grade. So if they could go to teenbuildingusa.org, and there's an input section there, and we want to know what the teens want. Thank you, Chair.
Any other comments or announcements from the board or community? See none? Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on. But if you do have a concern, please let us know. We'll try to address it and hear your concern. If it just somebody just pops up or it comes to somebody. Okay, moving on to Hunt VA Clinic. Tony. None. No. I go get him. I get him. Yeah, should be good.
Oh, you can see it. Okay.
Oh, look at that. Perfect.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll make this quick for you. Well, first off, everybody, good evening. I'm Tony Gaston from the Hunt Companies, and what I'd like to do is just give you a quick update on how things are going over at the VA clinic. Hey, take a look at this image here. See, they've done so much work on the outside. The pavers are going to be coming in the next month to a month and a half. So they're going to pave that side of the parking lot, and look at the meandering walkways that you guys can see on the side of the clinic over there. So the exterior part is going very well as the interior. You can see they're starting to get ready to do some final painting in this area. I'll whiz through this one. The interior walls, see, they put the flooring down, so they want to protect it now when they do more work. They're getting along very fast. And take a look at this area. I've shown you guys this image before. You remember seeing all the utilities up in the top. They're closing it off. They're moving along very good. And they're still on target to get all the construction completed in the middle of January. VA team will come in and need about 4 to 6 months before they can actually open it. Now, I haven't talked about the roads for a long time, but take a look. It looks like all the roads are pretty much done now, and they pretty much are. There's only a little bit of stuff left that we have to do. Take a look at the landscaping median now. This is an image from FDR. The grass is grown, the trees are there. So our next step, because this is there, is to get the city and county to come out and accept all of it. After they do that, well, you see, there's not all the striping on the roads yet. And it's because when this project was first designed, if you guys remember the Malcolm lanes, the one on the left, it was only one lane, but we wanted to open it for 2 to make it better. So that is still being approved by the city and county. As soon as that gets approved, we'll be able to come out there and restripe all that, get that open. Now, there's still that one road, Copahay. We are still waiting for the state. Well, actually, no, I'll say this. The state DOE did sign off. We're waiting for state DLNR now. After state DLNR signs off, they give it to the United States DOE. They come back, give us the approvals. We'll actually be able to go in there and build the sidewalk for the school and all the other infrastructure. Right now, though, because we haven't gotten it yet, we probably won't be finished with this road until maybe like December or January of next year. If you remember also, I'll be quick on this one. I talked about the new traffic signal that's going to go up at Wakea Street at the Kapolei Parkway. So you can see the little orange fences. The guys did get out there to begin some of the work. And if you haven't noticed, that's great. That means they're not obstructing traffic, which is what they were supposed to be doing. So this is still on target for being completed in about 2 months, where after that, we turn it over to the city. They're the ones who actually come out and get that thing going. So that's the quick update I have. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board? Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, Tony, thanks always. And you're so affable and everything. I hate to bring this up, but I just noticed when I drive by a lot that the sprinklers are just right on the asphalt. So I drive through there quite a bit, and I don't know. That's totally nitpicky.
No, I've noticed
Just
that
wanted to
too.
Bring it to your attention.
That's right. And I did bring it to their attention, but if they didn't do it yet, when's the last time you saw it? No, really?
That was probably like a week ago. So.
Okay. I did it 2 weeks ago. So that means they didn't do it yet.
They're growing the asphalt. Any other questions from the board? We have any questions from the community? Okay, we got one, David, and then we got one online. Go ahead, David.
Hey, thank you, Tony. Tony, as you coming onto the road, as you coming on across from Costco's headed towards Eva,
Yes.
there's those bricks on the road. What is that? Is that a bike lane?
No, those are permeable pavers.
What is it for?
And those are designed to accept water for drainage purposes. So it's
Those pavers is up and down?
oh yeah, they're up and
They're
down
really
right now
up and
because they're
down?
settling. So it is supposed to settle a little bit, and we're going to come back and refurbish all those.
Okay, so that's not stationary right there.
Oh, it will be stationary eventually, but the aggregate underneath.
Kind of scary if a bicycle guy riding on that.
Right now, yeah, probably.
It's really off level, and really concerned if somebody's riding their electric bike or regular bike and really get hurt on there. So maybe you can try fix the safety on it if you see some bad areas that has a lot of big dips in it right now.
We are.
Thank you.
Again, what we're doing is purposely waiting for it to settle, and then we're going to come back and restore it and then put the new paver blocks back on.
Thank you.
Any
Go
other
ahead,
questions?
Tara. Tara, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, aloha, this is Tara Rojas, was just in a meeting, heard the same presentation in the Kalailoa stakeholders meeting. Now, you all really need to know this because Hunt Development was put on notice for not having clear title, no documentation to land title. They were at a loss for words when Kanaka Maoli stepped forward with lineage, explaining LCAs and that they do not have consent to develop on this land, and that the proof of title of the land they're on, they had no comment. Yeah. And so they also, they're, because of federal funding, laws to comply with them, you need the ISs. And this is really important. He was in they mentioned in that Kalailoa stakeholder meeting in which HCDA was also there, that the city ENV, the Babcock also, they plan a dangerous driveway, on a major FDR commuter road curve on heavily used Roosevelt Avenue. There are people in attendance there that have been there in attendance for a long time, gave a lot of very useful factual information. And the fact that, federal section 4F violating, because the state roadway and city ENV project, is using federal funds. So there's a lot of this, especially there's a lot of like HEVA, and the fact that, Act 221, you guys really need to keep update because Kalailoa, HCDA, master plans and everything, and this is developers, this is all in our area. So I'm standing up now and I'm gonna say this, that Act 221 requires, HCDA and the master plan, Kalila, to consider the impact of climate change, sea level rise, climate resilient development, Pakako and Kalila community development districts, in addition to preserving historic sites and culturally significant facilities, settings or locations shall be preserved. In addition to Hawaiian archaeological, historic, and cultural sites shall be preserved and protected. Endangered species of flora and fauna and significant military facilities shall be preserved, to the extent feasible. So HCDA will not honor Act 221. So be very aware of that. And so if you're talking about community standing up, they do not, everybody in attendance wanted monthly meetings. HCDA, they will not have that. Everybody wanted recordings. They refused to put meetings online for the public like other agencies, And finally, HCDA, the decisions are made in a back room. We heard this today by developer, PIG, public interest group, in which there are no public meetings recorded, and that's how they get their development through and further plans. So they do not have clear title of this land. Mahalo.
Thank you. I know the HCDA have monthly meetings. I used to be on the HCDA board as well, so I know they have monthly meetings, and if the community wanted to be there, they'll be there. No, it's online.
But no, we were there. The next one is going to be in 3 months. And we all, at the end, they changed because when they're talking about proving their land, how they got the land, the selling of the land, they did not have proof. They do not have proof of land ownership. And they
Okay. Any other questions from the community? See none. Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome. Thank
And
you.
thank you for coming every month.
No problem.
Okay, moving on to Gentry Homes. Hey, Debbie. Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. The camera's there. Fine. Okay, we're gonna use the other screen or just that? Phone line coming to your back.
What's that?
Yeah, okay.
Or do you want us to face it more?
So, people even the camera and the, yeah, that's fine. On time limit, time limit. Get the duct tape, here we go. Yeah, so this is the update, I guess, for the Holomoa School, DOE, and the park. Got it. Thank you. I mean, they had the presentation last 2 months, but they had a lot of meetings that they had to get with the communities and the development in that area. So now they're here with the information. Go ahead.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone. For tonight's update, we will be focusing on the 12-acre parcel. It's a park site next to Holomoa School, and you see it in the colored area there. It's recently been used as a temporary drainage basin. So because Gentry has more than sufficiently satisfied the city's park dedication requirements, we are able to dedicate some of the land in this park area to the DOE, which has been a request of the community for many years. So we are planning to dedicate about 5 acres to the to the DOE for expansion of Holomoa, including a much-needed parking lot. We're also in negotiations with the U.S. Tennis Association regarding the sale of the remaining parcel to enable the development of a world-class tennis facility. I'll now turn over the mic to Ron Romano, Executive Director, and Russell Lum, Board Chair of the U.S. Tennis Association Hawaii Pacific, who will briefly go over the conceptual plan for the facility. I also wanted to quickly mention that we're not asking for your approval, but mainly to provide information and get some feedback on this plans.
Thanks, Debbie. Thanks, everyone. I realize you have a lot of business, and I know the clock has started. We've got 3 minutes. So my name is Ron Romano, the Executive Director of the USTA. We're the national governing body of tennis, based here in Honolulu. We're also a 501c3 charitable nonprofit. We have an office in Honolulu. We've been there for about 50 years. Just as Debbie said, we're looking at developing the 7-acre parcel. It's a park-like setting with a world-class tennis facility. Right now, we're looking at a parking lot, a pavilion with restrooms, 15 tennis courts, and a basketball court, which can be converted also into a volleyball court. We hope that we can start construction on that next year. Of course, depending on permitting, it will be open to the general public, and we're going to be adjacent to Holomoa Elementary School. We have a schools program where not only we'll be working with the elementary school, but we'll be reaching out to the other schools in the Ewa Beach area and offering after-school programs for elementary, middle school, high school. And we're saying this is a world-class tennis facility. We really also want it to be an after-school community center for the kids. And I know some of the schools around this area that have already heard about this have reached out and said, well, are you going to do tennis programs? Can we have tennis tournaments? Can we do things with you? And the answer is, of course. So I didn't hear the clock tick, but I'll open it up, see if there's any questions. That's basically the concept of what we're hoping to do.
This is a very, very exciting news.
Thank you.
I've having lived on the mainland for several years and then coming here, the parks here are very interesting. They're usually open spaces of land. In fact, in our house, I don't allow our daughters to say a lot because that's what a lot is, a big empty space of land. I'm just kind of wondering, I love seeing this many tennis courts, but are there any adjacent support buildings? You know, whenever you're bringing in that many students or children, something to maintain the crowd or facilitate meeting space, education, training, that type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we're looking at not a building as much as a large pavilion. And the pavilion would have restrooms.
Okay.
It would have storage. It would have some workspaces, and it would have some classrooms.
Is that the area marked in yellow, I guess, just off the parking lot? Yes. Yeah.
parking lot. Sorry. So this would be parking lot for the facility. This would be an additional parking lot that Gentry would build for Holomoa Elementary School. This would be the pavilion we're talking about. This would be the basketball court and just some green space around the side here.
Okay. Would the green space be open as a park area for like frisbee throwing or something like that?
Yeah, and so we'd like to see some shade trees around the perimeter with some picnic benches where families could come out
Okay.
and have a nice place to, stay for the afternoon or the weekend or whatever. Yes.
Thank you.
A couple of questions. Number one, so the first parcel, that's a parking lot for Holomoa, is that correct?
Yes, that would be
Okay.
here.
And the second parcel, that's going to be for the teacher housing, is that correct?
I'm sorry?
Is the second parcel going to be used for teacher housing?
This area here is going to be
Just turn it over.
DOE.
Go ahead.
DOE.
DOE.
Yes.
Okay. The next question I wanted to ask you, are these courts going to be lighted?
We had a lot of discussion about that. Initially, we said no because we didn't want that to be a distraction to the community. But the state-of-the-art lights right now are all down lighting. But we got a lot of feedback at the town hall, and people were saying, "Well, it's hot. We would love to have some courts that are lit so we can come and use the facility at night." So we're looking at these 5 courts with lights at this point.
And so I'm curious because having bright lights right next to that community, has that community surrounding that area been informed about this potential change? And have they had a chance to give their input about the potential impact of having these bright lights right next to their home at night?
Yeah, when we had a town hall meeting with the residents of this area, we said, we're not looking at any lights. And then the feedback we got, they said, we would really like to have some of these courts lit because we'd really like to use the facility at night, either because we work and it's after work, after school, and because of the heat during the day. So everything is subject to change. If we got a lot of community input that said we don't want lights, then we're going to listen to that.
Yeah, so that yellow is Iroquois Road. The adjacent community is TCLT. That's where I live. So then you got over there on the right lower side. Yeah.
Here.
Yes, that whole parcel. You see my house?
Okay, we're not going to make any noise. This is not pickleball. There's not going to be any noise here.
So
pickleball.
So, Chair, if I can ask.
Go ahead, John.
I got to ask the pickleball question.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of pickleball players in Eva Mexico. I don't know if
Yes.
you've been there. You've seen
Yes.
how many people are there. And so are any of those going to be striped with pickleball?
So we've had a lot of discussion about that. And we've also talked to the city, and they've informed us, and we've been out there, Eva Mexico is going to be turned into a pickleball center. They're going to convert a lot of the courts. It's a mile or two away. So we said, well, why do we want to be in competition with one of the largest pickleball centers here in Honolulu? So the answer would be no, but everything is subject to change.
So will this whole facility be fenced in?
Yes.
What type of fence will you be?
That we haven't decided that, but we had a lot of feedback on, some of the areas I believe are already fenced in because they border the homes. That's been a big concern. We want to make sure it's fenced in. Plus the courts themselves will all be fenced in. The pavilion, the parking lot, the pavilion, everything will be locked up at night, but during the day, it will be fully staffed. We'll have somebody staffing there all day. At night, it'll be locked up.
Okay.
I have a question, Mitch.
Wait, real quick. I think Liam.
Yep.
And then I go back.
Sorry
to
if I missed it. I appreciate the presentation. Just to clarify, this is free for use of the public, or there's a membership required in order to use, for example, the basketball court?
Yeah, so we're looking at, the basketball court is free to the public. We're looking at the Eva by Gentry community having free access, and then we're considering, well, what about the general public? And we're thinking that there might be some kind of a nominal, monthly or annual fee, but we haven't really decided on that.
Thank you.
But it will be open to the general public.
Alex?
Well, just to follow up on that, so as not a member or a neighborhood, I don't live in Gentry, so I would strongly support opening it because I think it's a sport that could gain a lot of traction here if you open it to the community. And so kind of on those same lines of what Liam asked, like, so the vision for you guys as the developers, are you seeing this as somewhere where you can bring like international events? Or I'm trying to understand, like, are you just trying to promote the sport? Are you trying to make it an international venue for this kind of thing? What are you looking, why are you looking to build this facility?
Yeah. So our mission is to promote and develop the growth of tennis. Part of our mission is community outreach. You know, we were looking at locations and we know that the Eva and the west part of Oahu doesn't have any real tennis facility, tennis instruction, whatever. So we wanted to reach out to this side of the island and offer something that you don't have. We're looking at it mostly from a community and Oahu and state, tournaments and leagues and things like that. Are we looking at bringing in international events? At this point, no. We want to be very sensitive to the impact this is going to have on traffic and, that kind of thing. So we're very sensitive, making sure we have enough parking. Hopefully that parking is going to ease the traffic congestion for the school in the morning and the afternoon, and looking at some kind of shared arrangement with the elementary school where we need a little more parking, let's say on the weekend, they need some help during the weekday.
Great. And so I'm just wrapping this up, Mitch. This is just a really preliminary plan. I'm assuming like the pavilion could be larger because it seems like to house staff and equipment and things like that. Like we've seen like the parks in San Diego. There's the one in the big park where they have the tennis courts and they have a place
Barnes
where
Tennis Center.
Yeah, where you can buy rackets and things. Anyway, I was just thinking about that. And is there any kind of timeline on this?
It's going to depend a lot on the permit process, which, we'd love to start this next year, but depending on the permits. Yeah.
Who's going to be the landowners?
USTA, the United States Tennis Association.
Okay, so the pavilion itself, I'm going to let you know real quick. Any pavilion you get in here in Ewa Beach, we will be looking at it for parties. Every pavilion and community center, whatever we have, because we don't have any. There is none to have any family events and stuff like that. So every community, whatever, we're kind of drawn to that. So
no, it's great.
Yeah, just letting you know that, like he was saying, Alex was saying about making it bigger and making it bigger. Always bigger, better.
Okay.
Always.
I agree with that. scale.
Multiple.
I got the message, but no, our goal is to get as much of the community out as possible during the week, weekend, after school, make it a real family community type center.
Make
Any
sure
other
you
questions?
like that basketball court too.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Make sure you like that basketball court too.
Yes, we're hearing that loud and clear.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I agree with the lighting. It gets actually dark here in Hawaii pretty early in the winter, and I don't foresee lights at 8 p.m. if closed at 9 p.m. being an issue for the community as long as they're not on super late. So I think people being able to come after work, that's playing the light, and in the cooler weather is really a smart idea.
I appreciate that. And the state-of-the-art lights now are all down light. That's not going to be a distraction, I don't think, to the homes.
Okay.
Thank you. I
Okay,
appreciate
Don and
that.
then Debbie.
So just following up on the chair's comment about the pavilions, I'm not sure, that since this is still preliminary, because often, you get the youth involved and get them interested very early. So if you had multiple pavilions around the area, the youth come out there with their families on the weekend or later in the evening, and they see it, and it's not an over the horizon goal. If they see it there and they become interested, and then it's mommy, daddy, I want to do that. I want to play tennis.
Yeah.
So just a thought that if we had 9 pavilions around the area, so, just a thought.
Yeah, will you come back to us when you are ready to build? Yeah, so
We'd
we
love-
can see
we-
what the final.
We would
final-
love
and
to
ask
keep,
more
yep,
questions.
keep in touch,
Thank you.
keep you informed, updated all the time. Absolutely.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Go ahead, Debbie.
I wanted to respond to your comment about the pavilion. We have, there's a very fine line. We cannot build a meeting facility on a P2 zoned property. So this is a zone P2 preservation, general preservation. And so the uses, the building that is going to be associated with the tennis facility is permitted as long as it's ancillary or an accessory use. But it cannot be, a party pavilion or.
I just want to point out, Debbie, that tennis court's not preservation, but no,
Pardon?
I
No,
just saying.
Well, yeah.
Hi, my name is Jen Lum, and I live like in the Suncrest Avalon area, right next door to that. Couple questions. Has the sinkhole been stabilized to be able to handle this? Because that was what that whole lot was a giant sinkhole. No, I'm just checking because sinkholes are. Yes. Okay. And then because it was a Tarsk special, like on there was coral and then everything washed out under the coral and then it collapsed kind of thing. So that's what a Tarsk sinkhole is. Okay, because that's not what it said on the maps from what my research just saying. And then what kind of surface is the basketball court going to be? And would there be other things allowed on there other than just basketball? Because I'm part of the roller derby community and I also teach roller skating. So I was just wondering, we don't have anywhere in Eva to do that and we're a really flat open area. So I was just wondering if that, we did out at Barber's Point at the Coast Guard base, we played roller derby on one of their tennis courts, but it was like a cage match because there was no room. And the only other place we had turned into like they park construction equipment next to the Dogs of War airsoft field. There used to be a track out there, but there isn't anything out here. So I was just wondering if that would be a possibility.
I mean, I can speak to you with some expertise on tennis, but I don't know about roller derby. But what I would say is the tennis courts are going to be a hard asphalt base, and roller derby, quite honestly, would probably ruin it. The basketball court, we're trying to look at that as a multi-purpose. Basketball can be converted to volleyball. So I don't know that much, but we're open to talking to you and, seeing if I don't know, seeing if that can be used without ruining the surface. And sure, we'd be happy to talk to you about that.
What? David, you got something? Go ahead. And then one on the line, and then we got to move on.
Entry. And first of all, I just want to say thank you for the meeting this morning. Really excited for the tennis court. Gentry, if the development that you had in the community, would be awesome to see more sports complex in the area. If you guys can partner up, maybe another football field or a baseball field or a swimming pool or something like that, that we can help get more of what the community needs. And I think this is an awesome plan. I think that we should hold developers accountable for building more of these for our keikis and our kids. So just want to say thank you for at least breaking ground on this, and hopefully that you guys can move forward in developing better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donkey.
Yes, it sounds like exciting news and plans ahead, but my question to Eva by Gentry is, are the association fees going to be affected with this?
It should not be affected.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. Okay. Moving on to Hasiko. I know she should be online.
Hi, this is Christine with Haseko. Lisa wasn't able to be here with us today. She asked me to just let everyone know that there's no updates, and if there's any questions or concerns, I can take it back to her.
All right. Any question for Hasiko?
Sure. Just
Wait, hold on.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
So just at the next meeting or whenever you can continually update us on that land that's around the Franciscan elderly housing, and what's going to come about that and what's the plan. And I know it's DHHL possibly in the future, but just to keep us apprised of what's going on, that would be great. Thank you.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we will. Tara, go ahead.
Okay. Aloha, this is Tara Rojas, and yes, I do have questions for Haseko. You know, I know from last month's meeting, it states that you're planning to build a 120 unit in contract with DHHL of land supposedly you own, and that DHL wants you to build. I also have a question regarding what's going to happen with the 1,800 resort residential units that you apparently still have permits to build. Again, do you realize, and what are your thoughts about the fact that our water is still in crisis? And to please remember that in October of 2021, Silver Beat article, it was stated in there that the Navy did a cover up, basically, of the 75 prior spills of jet fuel so that they could get their permit approved. And when did the spill happen that sickened 93,000 people of their own? November 2021. And a Republican candidate or Republican senator, I believe, he said he bleeds red, white, and blue. He's a veteran, and that facility needs to be shut down. That it needs to be removed. Keep in mind, October to January 2024, our water will not be free of the jet fuel that sits 100 feet above. 100 to 400,000, I'm going to repeat again, will still be stuck in the non-gravity, areas where the rest can come out. 100 to 400,000 gallons will be stuck.
Point of order, Chair.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't believe this is related to Haseko.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
So just the permits of the units to be built.
Okay, got it. So update on the resort and update on the DHHL land that was Joseco sold to DHHL in Evo, right?
Yes, mahalo.
Got it. All right. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Last
Thank you, Chair.
one. Kahuna Aina. Then we got Muleka. Go ahead.
Aloha mai kako. I am Kahuna Aina, lineal descendant of the Konohiki, Matayo Kekuana Oa. As a descendant, Konohiki, and a native tenant, I have questions regarding their intent with the EV. What is their intent with the EV? Also, I'd like to know more about the injection wells. Makikau versus Zuckerberg had already declared case precedents that injection wells will not work. Injection wells cannot separate the chemical byproducts of the wave pool as well as urine and any other cleaning products that you guys will. I think the intention with the injection wells was to insert it within the karst system beddings. The karst system beddings is not a place to defecate or release any contaminants because that is a burial cave system, as well as it carries rich oxygen, nutrient, vital resources from Moka to Makai that feeds the limu, that provides nourishment for cultural practitioners such as myself. So I place this kahea to you guys that injection wells are not going to work, but I would like to get feedback on injection wells and what is their true intention, because with a sewage system that cannot maintain adequate water flow, injection system cannot be an alternative as far as where these waters are going to go. So I don't know how I'm going to get feedback. I guess I got to come to the next meeting. The lands in which they're violating I have already brought it to the burial council. I am a lineal descendant of Evie of that Pai'aina. So call your kupuna tonight because I will talk to them myself. Mahalo.
Thank you. Molika, go ahead.
Aloha, Maleka speaking. Kalamai, can you guys hear me? It's kind of noisy in the background.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Mahalo. My question, well, actually, it's not a question. This is, I'm gonna be letting Haseko know that there are Kanaka Maoli self-asserted associations that are uprising, and we are actually having dialogue with DHHL. I also wanted to know if this plan that they have with DHHL, are they going to be taking Kanaka Maoli from one ahupua'a to another? Is the Kanaka Maoli that they plan on housing in Honouli'uli ahupua'a, are they lineal descendants of Miriam Kirkawanohi? And are they lineal descendants of this ahupua'a? Because you know what, you guys cannot be taking one Kanaka to another Kanaka's ahupua'a. Please take into account that there are lineal descendants that will be returning back to their aina, and we are on the agenda with DHHL in their upcoming meeting on July 18th. So I just want to give you guys a heads up that you guys will be met with force. DHHL, they will have to sit down with us, and we're going to educate them on what their duties are in this occupied country called Kohawai'i Pai'aina. Mahalo.
Yeah, thank you. Seeing no other questions? Who? Oh, sorry. Who?
Mike, is it me next?
No, you already spoke already, Kuanaina.
Oh,
Thank you.
you only get one chance. You only get one chance because I never
turn,
occupy
yeah.
2 minutes. It's what, 2
Yeah,
minutes
sorry.
per turn. Yeah, 2 minutes per turn.
Sorry, we got. I know, but we gotta move on. You already had your 1 minute, one turn. I'm sorry, but we gotta
I
move
didn't
on.
use 2 minutes. No, I didn't use 2 minutes.
Use over 2 minutes.
No, I
Trust me.
didn't.
I'm
Actually,
keeping
no, I
time
didn't.
over here.
But anyway,
We have one
the
turn, 2
Article
minutes.
12, Article
thank
12,
you.
Section 7,
No, thank
subsection
you.
1
No, thank you.
is a constitutional right to culture
Thank you very
practitioners.
much. Thank you. Oh man, sorry guys. Okay, we're moving on to DR Horton. Anybody from DR Horton, Ho'opili? If we need update, I can go call. I think it's. I'll try to ask them if they got any updates because I know about the power lines the last time the community came. Okay, moving on to government officials. U.S. Marine Corps Base Hawaii.
Good evening. So first up for MCBH, we formally requested a combined joint test. Better? There we go. Okay. Yeah, so first we've formally requested a joint/combined lead testing in and around PRTF with the Department of Health at the state. We have yet to hear a response from them, but we hope to hear one next week. Second, we received positive feedback from the Marine Innovation Unit that I mentioned to you last month about seeking technological solutions to some of our issues at PRTF. They've responded positively, and we've linked them up with the University of Hawaii Office of Innovation. And in the near future, they will be touring the facility to kind of explore some of those solutions and identify some problems or identify solutions to the problems we've identified. We've reached out to the FAA concerning our impact of Marine Corps operations on FAA, the flight path into Honolulu International. Coincidentally, they are also going through a flight path modernization program, so we happen to hit them at the right time. So we are going to be providing our input to them on the operations at the range, and hopefully we can mitigate some of the community's concerns about incoming and outgoing traffic from HNL. Lastly, we've begun sourcing the enhanced performance round, which is a lead-free copper jacket round. So again, zero lead, and eventually that will lead to the elimination of lead projectiles in the soil, and ultimately the removal of lead from Marine Corps training ranges in Oahu. So those are some of the near-term actions concerning PRTF. Long-term, We've got the appropriate stakeholders from places like Japan, the Beltway in DC, Virginia. We're very interested in this problem. We've got the right stakeholders interested. So we appreciate your patience in working with us on this together. And we hope to have a codified plan within the next month. So hopefully at the next board meeting, we'll have something on paper to pass to the board to communicate our way ahead at PRTF.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? Okay, Liam and then John.
Thank you for that update. A couple of questions. First is on the combined joint lead testing. The request, I think, from my understanding, was to not only include the Department of Health, but the Surfrider Foundation as well, to represent the community writ large at the table. So have they been contacted, and has the invitation been extended to them as well?
You know, I'll
And I have
double
a couple
check. The
more
only one that
questions too. So just
I'm
mark that
aware of is the Department of Health. I'll have to check on the Surfrider. I'm not sure if they were on the invitation or not.
Okay, and did I understand correctly? You sent the request to the Department of Health to partner in that joint lead testing, but have not heard back?
Right.
Okay, and when is it expected that lead testing, when was the goal to do that testing?
So we sent the letter no earlier than May 25th of this year. So, but that was before Colonel Kuparakis changed over with Colonel Bevan, who you all met last month. So we have not heard a response in that time. So roughly 60 days. We've been told that we would hear as soon as the 17th of July, which is next Monday. So hopefully, you know, it gets some traction.
Okay, and I'm assuming that you would not move forward until these other stakeholders are at the table. You would not move forward with the testing unilaterally?
That's correct. We're not going to do an independent test of the range ourselves. It's going to be a joint/combined effort with the state and hopefully the community.
Okay, great. Thank you. A couple of other quick questions is regarding the technology, if I'm understanding correctly, would be to mitigate the noise.
Right.
We were told that a western sound wall might be constructed. Can you speak in a little more detail to what you're referring to there, and who those? Can you rename the different parties involved? Because I know you mentioned the university as well. I just want to make sure we understand what's happening.
Yeah. So for the Marine Corps side, there's a new unit that was set up called the Marine Innovation Unit, and what they do is they seek, you know, technological solutions to problems that are identified from units across the nation, to include Japan. So we bring them problems, and then they go out and analyze, research, and find potential solutions that could be implemented to assuage some concerns such as noise, erosion, or other concerns. The office at the University of Hawaii is the Office of Innovation, is who I'm told that we're working with.
Okay, and the last question was, has there been any serious talk about finding an alternative location for the range? Because the neighborhood board passed a resolution acknowledging the need for military training, acknowledging that Marine readiness is absolutely, we agree with you, but that the location in a densely populated neighborhood was wholly incompatible. And in a number of ways, it wouldn't be allowed to be built now, so to speak. So the neighborhood board passed that, the state Senate passed it, the state House passed it. So my question is, has that been part of the conversation, looking for locations, for example, Schofield, K-Bay, or other parcels of land across the island where the range could be relocated, a new state-of-the-art facility built that could provide the same readiness, but not in the middle of a densely populated neighborhood?
So the short answer to your question is yes. But keep in mind that that is a longer term solution and above somewhat of Marine Corps Base Hawaii's span of control. So this is going to include people from DC in our higher headquarters, legislators at the federal level. So we're getting them involved, and it is at the forefront of our mind, and it is included in our planning. But what we're doing right now is some of the immediate near-term actions to assuage some of the concerns while we work towards that long-term solution.
Okay, so just final clarification.
Sorry, gotta stop you there. Go ahead, John.
So just real quickly, you mentioned a plan, you mentioned the stakeholders. Can you just describe what you mean by plan? So
yes, so the plan is essentially outlining and involving the appropriate parties for near, intermediate, and long-term solutions, with the ultimate solution being finding an alternative solution to meet our training needs. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, we got two questions from on the community. Wait, Tara, go ahead. Oh, wait, I got after. Sorry about that.
Oh, do I go now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is Tara Rojas, and yeah, I am concerned. You know, we've been hearing it. I think it's been actually more than 3 months, May, June, July, about, you know, knowing about lead testing, the effects of having a shooting range, you know, right by the beach with the berms and everything. And, you know, what is really disconcerting is what I'm hearing, that there can be, I'm just going to say this, ukubilin amounts of patients for contamination of our VAI, of our AINA, disrupting residents in a not, it's just not compatible to be where you're at. Utmost patience, but yet, and then at the same time, we're hearing that, yes, speak up when something is not pono. And we have to hear it month after month after month. Yet when we speak up, really what's pono, that I see people, you know, representing the community, or, you know, even volunteer basis or whatnot, being upset to hear the truth. And yet we can let contamination of our VAI, which affects the keiki who swim in the water, the fish, the ecos, you know, what we eat from our kai. So there, you can't just pick and choose. You cannot pick and choose what you'll have respect for and what you won't. And again, I do have another concern that with this, that, you know, to be, you know, like a board member, just to make sure that if, you know, anybody moves, that, you know, does everybody on the board, you know, live in this area? Because again, this is for the community, and the community is speaking up, and lineal descendancy trumps everything else that we're discussing today. And utmost respect should be shown for the community who descend from Ali'i.
Thank you. Okay. Alex, go ahead. Then we get
Thanks for showing up to the meeting. Appreciate it. Welcome to the monthly meetings. I was just wondering if you had a contact for the person at DOH, because we had contact with them less than 60 days ago, and they said they hadn't heard anything from MCBH. And so I'm wondering if you have a contact, who the point for your POC is over there.
Not in front of me, but I'll get you what I've got.
I'd appreciate it. That'd be great. And the other thing I would say too is, you know, I know that I feel like the noise mitigation is kind of going on the radar, and I just want to highlight that that's a major issue. And, you know, I've been on this board for several years now, and I remember as far back as 2019 talks about sound mitigation that never occurred. So I think there's aside from the fact that I think that it should be relocated, that's my own opinion, and I understand a lot of the challenges involved, but there's also a lot of mistrust, because even some of the measures that were mentioned were going to be taken in 2019 to curb the sound effects weren't taken. And so whatever measures, I know my concern is that you're going to say, we're looking, this could potentially get relocated, so we're not going to invest any money in mitigation because it could get moved. And so nothing's ever going to happen one way or the other. It's not going to get moved, and there's not going to be any mitigation. So I guess those are two different things. The one is the lead. We need to get those results. So there's a lot of talk about contamination, and we need a solid, involving all the different partners, really thorough testing all around the range, so we can actually say whether there's contamination or not before everyone just flies off the cuff saying there is. I think we need that, but it needs to be done in a holistic fashion. And like Liam is saying, involving all the different partners, not something that is veiled and done in secrecy, you know? So that's why I'm asking about DOH. If you could share that information, would be great. Sorry. Thanks for mentioning.
Okay. Moleka, go ahead.
Moleka speaking. My question is, if I'm not mistaken, lead testings take about 1 week. Yeah. Why is it taking you guys 2 months and still we're not hearing any feedback? I know you mentioned that, Colonel, or whatever, but you know, there's no reason why it's taking this long. Secondly, as the board member just stated that the resolution was passed and you did state that you're looking for an alternative shooting range, but you guys better speed up the process. And also, third, what would you guys do if the findings are that the lead contamination are extreme numbers? What if when the results come back, say tomorrow, and you guys have these findings that the lead contamination is at extreme alarming numbers, will you guys then try to make this a short-term process? I know you said long-term, but given the severity, of our water resources being polluted already, if the findings come back that this lead contamination are at high numbers, will you guys then turn this long-term goal into a short-term goal? And also, just to let everybody know, I'm an Ever Beach boy, born and raised. Went Paul Care Elementary, Lima Intermediate. I grad James Campbell High School, 2009. Ever since I was elementary, the sound of this shooting range has taunted me. It has caused a hostile environment. I believe there are psychological effects of shooting noises and us hearing it, and it does create a hostile environment. Since we started bringing these issues of the Pu'uloa shooting range, I've noticed, I'm in Ever Beach, yeah, most of my life. And I hear, it seems like you guys are taunting us because now I hear it longer now. And I don't know what kind of noise mitigation you guys are doing, but it's not working. It seems like you guys trying to taunt us.
Okay.
I
Thank you.
noticed that. Is my time done?
Yeah, time's done.
Okay, just making sure. Mahalo. I hope he
Thank you.
answers my question.
You have any answers to those questions?
Okay, so the lead testing taking so long. So short answer is the test hasn't been conducted yet between the Marine Corps and the state of Hawaii. How long the results take, I won't speak to the lab or how long they take on returning the results. We are not taunting. In fact, last month we briefed and we put in policies to mitigate the immediacy of your noise concerns, to include not starting the range prior to 07 in the morning. And we encouraged community feedback if you do hear anything outside those hours to report it to the base so we can handle it. What are you going to do if the testing is high? I imagine that it will increase the rapidity in which the Marine Corps and the interagency work towards a solution, at the speed of the problem. But until we get that data in that holistic fashion that the board has mentioned, that's kind of where we're at.
Okay, thank you. Okay, last one. Koena. Kona Aina, go ahead.
Aloha. Not to mention, I'm a cultural practitioner. I also have 3 degrees, of which my master's degree is in science. So as a licensed certified science teacher with background in environmental testing, there is no reason why the military should have taken 90 days in order to determine whether or not the lead levels were toxic to the community which it's surrounding. You're also able to test the soil sampling in order to determine the high toxicity levels that are permeating throughout the soil from its point of impact to its circumference and diameter, even into the waters that it runoff will be affecting the water systems right within the immediate area. You're able to test the sand. There's no reason why the military should take this long in order to determine. Lead is a life-threatening effect to human beings, especially pregnant women, sea life, creatures in which the native people here eat. So for you to continue to come to these meetings and continue to repeat the same storyline, nothing is happening. So when these tests are done, those test results going to be made available to the board and to the community? And if so, where will they be posted and be made available? Because given the number of years you have been operating there, first and foremost, you guys are taking over a large portion in percentage and acreage over the entire Kohawaii Pai'aina, a country in which is unlawfully occupied by you, not you, Kalamai, your unit, your division. With all the other bases that exist, that base should be shut down, removed near the ocean, and put onto another base area where you can practice what you need to. I'm not for the military, but if you need to do what you got to do, there needs to be consideration for the community, the longevity of the people. Military people never stay here that long. We're here, we're native, and that needs to be taken into consideration. So I'd like to see the EPA involved in this, and possibly a call from the board instead of just mitigating rules and policies, maybe implement something and do some follow through. You are so welcome. Yes, God bless.
Thank you. Okay. Last question, Liam, back to you. You had one more. Yeah.
I guess my final question was regarding the Surfrider Foundation. I didn't hear your response to that. I heard you say that you were including DOH, but did I hear correctly that you have not been in contact with the Surfrider Foundation?
I'm only aware of Colonel Kuprakis in the base sending a letter to the Department of Health at the state. I am not sure if Surfrider was involved in the invitation, if they were involved in separate correspondence. So I'll have to check and owe you an answer on that.
Okay. Just one last point of comment is folks are talking about testing results. I want to remind everybody that the Surfrider Foundation did extensive testing, and those results were crystal clear that there was significantly 70 times the legal limit for residential areas of lead in a number of parts of the range.
Okay.
Subsequent to that, the Marine Corps did do some of their own testing.
Liam,
No, I'm just clarifying.
No, I understand, but I give you a question, the finished question, not to add another question. We have 25 minutes before this board is ending. I'm sorry.
Back to chair.
I think Robert's Rules of Order needs to be
Thank you very much.
executed with the board. Robert's Rules of Order. Thank you.
Thank you. Now moving on, oh, no other questions.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Moving on to U.S. Navy. Mike Andrews, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, members of the community. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you tonight. First order of business, wanted to get back with Mr. Clark on a question that he had at the last meeting. His question was specifically, can you comment at all on the latest developments regarding the future storage tanks in the Kapolei area? We went to the Defense Logistics Agency and were told by them that they have awarded a storage services contract to Island Energy Services. And this was in October of 2022 for storage of up to 63 million gallons of fuel for their existing at their existing Kapolei facilities in support of operational and strategic requirements. Some of that capacity is currently available, with the balance becoming available by August of this year. Okay. All right. I do want to bring you up to date on the Navy's work, continuing with the remediation of Red Hill, and then I'll be followed by Mr. Flint to give you a general Navy update. I want to start off by saying that today, the Navy Region Hawaii, which is my parent command, Joint Task Force Red Hill, Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam, and the EPA and the Department of Health conducted a successful Red Hill spill drill. This is a worst case scenario where we tested our contingency plans if there were some type of accident, release of fuel during the defueling process. We were able to put through the processes and to validate a lot of what we're doing. We'll be doing more of these drills as we continue to work towards the ultimate beginning of the defueling of the main tanks, which is still scheduled for October 16th. The Joint Task Force Red Hill is also going to begin draining some of the surge tanks, 4 different 480,000 gallon surge tanks that are below the tank gallery, but this is all part of the incremental approach to defueling. I'd also like to bring you up to speed on the most recent development involving the Navy and the Defense Logistics Agency in partnership with our regulators, the EPA and the Department of Health. We're inviting members of the public to attend a planning meeting for the formation of the Red Hill Bulk Fuel Storage Facility Community Representation Initiative. That meeting is scheduled for Thursday, the 27th of July from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Alomanu Middle School. This is part of the EPA's consent order from 2023. The planning meeting is to focus on soliciting community inputs regarding the design and roadmap for implementing the community representation initiative. More information on the 2023 consent order can be found at our webpage, which would be https cnrh.cnic.navy.mil/operations-and-management/Red Hill. Details for the planning meeting are also available at the Environmental Protection Agency's Red Hill events calendar. That's www.epa.gov/red-hill/events-calendar. We would also like to let the public know that the non-beneficial reuse of the tank facility, which was requested by the Department of Health, is ongoing. Through that, we have issued a survey for results on possible reuses of the tank once the defueling and the cleaning has been completed. Will be more to follow on that, and also want to pass to the public that the long-term monitoring program continues. The bottom line, most important message from that is the drinking water remains safe to drink. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Flynn for a general Navy update.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Aloha, Board. Victor Flint, Public Works. Follow up on a question from last month from Miss Wendy Alento. She had questions and concerns about our bypass road. I spoke to Miss Alento. I answered many of her questions. Some I did not, still require a follow-up, as well as interest in a presentation. Once we get all the information from our engineers, Board will go to you and request to be put on the agenda. So that's all I have on that. I'm going to start with my July presentation. REPI funds were secured by with the help of Navy. We've got $15 million of REPI funds. This is to promote our watershed protection programs. These are programs to promote and assist water percolations into our aquifer. The Navy's working hard to right the horrible wrong we did a couple years ago. HUREX drills, June through November. Navy's participating with other emergency responding agencies in hurricane preparedness drills. We're prepped for the worst and we pray for the best. July 4th, Food Fund fireworks at Pearl Harbor. Over 15,000 people attended the July 4th celebration. A great way to spend the day. With that being said, are there any questions for myself or Brother Mike? Thank you.
Any questions from the board? Seeing none? Any questions from the, okay, got one. What is your name and your question?
Yes, mahalo. Susan Gorman Chang, Shutdown Red Hill Coalition. I have a question about the defueling. As I understand it, it's going to be, you're going to be using gravity to defuel the jet fuel from the tanks, but that at this point, you don't know, as Tara pointed out earlier, how to get out the about 600,000 gallons of jet fuel and sludge at the bottom that cannot be drained with gravity. When will the Navy have a plan as to how to get that jet fuel out?
That is a plan that is being developed by Joint Task Force Red Hill in conjunction with Navy Region Hawaii. I wish I could give you a timeline on it. As you've alluded to, this is a far more complex part of it because we want to make sure that as we pull it out, that it's done in a safe and effective manner. I don't have a timeline on it. Like I said, it's still being developed. As we get more clarity on it, we will be able to provide that to the board.
Okay.
Mahalo.
I know. Can I make a quick motion to the board? We only have less than 17 minutes. Can we limit the time limit from 2 to 1 so everybody can get to a question and kind of move this going on a little? I mean, we were almost 3/4 through it, but we only have like around roughly 15 minutes. I make a motion to from 2 minutes to 1 minute.
Second.
All right. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, thank you. Okay. Tara, go ahead.
Yeah, aloha. So this is disconcerting. Our lives are at stake here. 93,000 lives had already been affected and still affected, and we're narrowed it down to 1 minute just to get through a board meeting. This is our life. So my question to you is, do you realize that you are continuing the trauma? The fact that you guys keep pushing the survey for reusing the Red Hill facility, shut it down means shut it down, not repurpose, not look for what else we can do. Shut it down, return the land.
Thank you. Juana, go ahead.
Okay, Hanaho, my family lineage, Red Hill sits on the lands of my grandfather, Kekuanaoa, and his son. You guys really need to do your homework, Navy. The executive order that granted you the right to utilize those lands did not factor in the lineal descendants of which the land you stole. Again, reminding everybody you're in an unlawful occupation, do your homework. Second, $10 million, am I correct, was paid to the consultation group that you are using as a consultation advised by Kamehameha Schools? Hello? That was a question. I'm gonna wait.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't have an answer for that
Oh,
question. Sorry.
Okay, can
Okay,
you,
so for everybody made known, Kamehameha Schools Advisory Board has recommended a nonprofit organization as the consultant factor group to contribute to the cleanup of Red Hill. However, this non-profit group came from the mainland. So next time you guys consider a consultation off your consultation list under DOI and DOJ, I'm not just a cultural practitioner. I am here to speak personally on the lands. So do you guys homework, respect the people, respect the Aina. The executive order did not grant any reparations to the lineal descendants of the land.
Point of
Thank
order,
you.
Chair. If the members of the committee will not respect the time, we will have to mute them at the 1 minute mark.
all right, will do. Thank you. Okay. Moleka, go ahead.
This is very disconcerting about the 1 minute resolution that you guys just passed. You guys are pilau. All you guys care about is time, yeah? You guys care about time when these are communities, members' lives at risk over here, and we're trying to let you guys know how to give you guys feedback to better your community, and you guys are trying to shut us down. This is a slap in the face, and I'm gonna be reporting it to you guys higher ups. This resolution to make them only 1 minute. What kind of stuff is that? You guys are pilau. Your
Order,
chair.
this
You guys
isn't
are.
questioning.
Okay.
Oh,
Is there,
I'm gonna be coming
is there
right
a
in.
question
I'm
in
gonna
there,
be visiting
Moleka? Go
you
ahead.
guys. I'm coming. I'm walking to the library right now. I just got off work. I'm gonna see you guys. Shoots.
Thank you.
Can I make a motion, Chair? I make a motion that because we have so much to get, and this is no disrespect, it's more of a time concern and we have a lot to get through, that we don't take any more questions and we move through the agenda. That's my motion.
To me, I would think it's better in person than online. Seems like everybody here is like waiting for their turn and being held hostage. Oh, there's a motion.
I
Sorry.
second the motion.
Okay. Any questions, discussion? All in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? Seeing none, okay. No more questions. Okay, moving on to US Army, go ahead.
Good evening, board and community members. My first point of talking points is the July job fair that the U.S. Army Garrison Hawaii will be holding on 25 July at Kapolei High School, beginning 8:30 a.m. and ending at 2:30 p.m. This is open to the public. There will be job offers and provisional hiring the day of the job fair. Advanced applicants may go to www.himwr.com, hawaiimwr.com. Click on the employment banner to learn of the openings and how to apply online. Walk-ins are welcome and should bring 2 references, a proof of ID, social security card, resume, or application. Directional signs will be located outside of Kapolei High School, directing you to the entrance. There are opportunities also for business operations like golf, bowling, food service, and many more. The Child Youth Services, or CYS, is also having openings to consider. For those that actually work within CYS, there are a variety of benefits such as retirement, access to all the recreation facilities that are on post, discounted child care training, and privileges to the commissary and the PX. That's underlined and bolded, just so you know that they really wanted to bring that point home. If you're interested in working with children, we have a position for you. Come on out and see what available employment opportunities await. U.S. Army Garrison published the July training advisory for Oahu on 30 June. You can get to that at the link of www.army.mil/article/2688080. Any questions, or if you want to be added to that distribution list, please call the community concern line at 808-656-3487. And we appreciate your understanding and patience and the timeliness that it takes to answer those questions. In July, the Army in Hawaii will continue training on the East Range area with helicopter training on 20, 25, and 27 July during daylight hours only. Blank fire training during the day only will occur from 1 to 7 July, 17 to 31 July. And additionally, on Schofield Barracks, there will be artillery and mortar training from 6 to 7, 10 to 14, and 24 to 28 July. Company and battalion-sized live fire exercises with small arms, heavy machine guns, and indirect fire will happen on 22 through 23 and 29 July. Additionally, there will be demolition training on 21st of July for both day and night. So that's the only one that's covering night. If you want to be added to the training advisory list, please email usag.hawaii.comrel@army.mil. As a reminder, if you have aviation complaints, please call 808-656-3487 or 808-656-3159. Provide a time, location, types of aircraft, and if possible, take a photo and email them to usag.hawaii.comrel@army.mil. And community members can also use www.flightradar24.com to actively see what aircraft are within their area at the time of the noise to report that as well. And this assists with identifying the aircraft and providing additional details. Do I need to stop? I have like 2 more paragraphs or?
Yeah, go ahead real quick.
Okay. The Army, along with HPD and Achieve Zero, will conducted a homeless camp sweep in the Dillingham-Mokulea area along the Makai side of the highway vicinity Army Beach. There were warning and citations issued, and the team worked closely with the homeless to consolidate rubbish for pickup and vacate the premises. And then lastly, in November of this year, there will be the joint multinational readiness exercise here on the Hawaiian Island. It will be spread across the island. This will certainly involve an increase in activity, an increase in noise around the islands and for our partner nations, and certainly more activity within the air. We'll have more information as we get closer to the actual exercise, but we wanted to share that with you as soon as possible.
All right, thank you. So we're not taking any questions, right? Okay, moving on. Representative Ed Case. Do you have nobody? Okay. Moving on to Mayor Rick Belangiardi, Kehau. I'll just read real quick the follow-up questions. The resident asked that the mayor doing the process of ending occupation here in Hawaii concerns of the descendants and different Apua'a. The city and county of Honolulu recognize and the complicated socio-political history of Hawaii. Throughout the recent town halls, we had the opportunity to hear concerns from many citizens throughout the island of Oahu. Monthly neighborhood board meetings are also a good venue to raise these conversations. The city is not currently a part of ongoing initiatives or discussions regarding the occupation through we have met with individuals in case-by-case basis. We will continue to respond to the resident and community concerns as we receive them. 2, Verona Village. A board member asked about the statutes of the city project of Verona Village, DLM. Verona Village will be redeveloped pursuant to development agreements with Savio Hawaii Habitat Verona Village LLC, the developer. The project is broken down into 2 phases. Phases 1, repair renovations of the existing homes to meet minimum health and safety considerations for the sale to the current tenants of record and their families. Phase 2 is the construction of up to 88 new affordable residential homes and 1 community center. The city is hoping that the developer can begin phase 1 this calendar year. Development. The board member asked about status of affordable housing and rental housing, West Lock Elderly. The project abutting West Lock Elderly Village, directly south of the formerly West Lock Affordable Housing, now renamed Kalima Ma'o Village, is a new development of 127 affordable rental units in partnership with Stanford Car Development and Komohale Westlot. The units will be spread across 7 three-story buildings around the Central Community Center, and a project is currently scheduled to start construction on March of next year. Pay raises. The residents raised concerns regarding the merit of the mayor's 12% pay raise. This item was forwarded to BFS, who asked that it be rerouted to the mayor's communication team. The item was sent to the mayor's team. However, they need additional time to respond. Please retain this item on next report and questions still to be active. Ultraviolet lights. Residents raised concerns about regarding installation of ultraviolet lights in order to disinfect the water system. The use of ultra or UV disinfection is a standard practice and the water treatment industry. It is widely used, effective, and approved by U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the Hawaii Department of Health. All the city wastewater plants incorporated disinfection process are using UV, including Sand Island, Waiawa, Laie. Future plans for using the UV disinfectant is the city's 6 other wastewater treatment plants. Okay. Okay, moving on to Council District 1, Andrea Tupola. Okay. Moving on to Council Member Augie Tolba.
Aloha Chair, board members. Aaron Michael Ho here from the office of Councilmember Augie Tolba. I did distribute his newsletter as soon as I got here. And there are copies on the back table if you would like another copy. But the council member is traveling at the moment. I believe he's actually in the air right now. Otherwise, he would usually port in. He wanted me to highlight 3 events that we are coordinating. The first 2 are actually on the front page of the bulletin. It is our Waipahu and Ewa hiring fairs. The intention for these fairs is to get local area like workers and local area employees connected. If that makes sense. Anyway, you get what I mean. We wanted to connect our neighbors in our community with businesses in the area. We are having employers that do not, exist in Waipahu and Ewa at the same time as those that do. So we are asking that if you are a business in Waipahu and Ewa and you are looking for good people from Waipahu and Ewa, please reach out to our office. The dates for Waipahu is Waipahu District Park Gymnasium on Monday, August 14th from 9 to noon. And then in Ewa, it's at a Sing Park on Friday, September 29 from 9 to noon. Yeah, any questions, please, again, reach out to our office. The third event that we are helping to coordinate or partnering to coordinate is with the city's rent relief and utilities relief program. It is an in-person application event. So if you are interested in applying for rent relief from the city, please go to the Philcom Center in Waipahu, the Filipinos Community Center, on Thursday, July 27th. It will run from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. They ask that you bring your photo ID, your late rent or utility bills, your rental agreement, and your income documents. And the staff there will actually help you complete the application on site. I believe that's it for me. And thank you.
Okay, any question? Oh, sorry, no question. Sorry. Okay, moving on to Board of Water Supply, Kelson.
Hi, good evening. My name is Kelson Lee with the Board of Water Supply. There's one main break to report on June 1st, 12-inch break on a cast iron pipe at 91685 Pohakapuna Road in Ewa Beach. Our general water announcement is that July is Smart Irrigation Month, so check your irrigation systems for leaks. You can find out more at www.boardofwatersupply.com/irrigation. Following up on questions from the last neighborhood board member John Rogers asked about the EIS for the East Kapolei 215 reservoir and the R1 water line. So this project is not anticipated to significantly affect traffic or rail operations, and we will provide more updates to the board when available. Community member Tara wants to know if the public can find out about the history of main breaks as well as the condition and material of their water pipes and water systems. The main break information is provided monthly at our board meetings. Generally, we have about 4 years of information on the BWS website. However, if you do want main break information that goes back further, please let the Board of Water Supply know and we can follow up accordingly. Community member Melody asked a question regarding the recent detections of PFAS in BWS wells. What is BWS's plans for the treatment of PFAS and what are we doing now about the PFAS in drinking water? The Board of Water Supply will continue to monitor the wells where we discovered very low levels of PFAS. We have been monitoring PFAS in our drinking wells since 2020, and so far had detections of low levels of PFAS in 7 BWS wells. For those PFAS that are going to be regulated by the EPA, all levels were well below the proposed limits. The BWS is in the process of hiring a consultant to help evaluate the EPA recommended methods for removing PFAS. The BWS will continue to provide updates as we move through this process for determining treatment. Community member Malika Hicks asked if BWS is aware of Oneula's history of burial sites and other culturally significant sites, and if we are aware of the karst cave systems. The Board of Water Supply is aware and committed to ensure that our projects are in compliance with the State Historic Preservation Division's rules and requirements. Please note that the Board of Water Supply does meet monthly with SHPD to coordinate archaeological and cultural requirements, including surveys, studies, and monitoring. Our BWS staff was made aware of the karst cave systems by Mr. John Bond. The BWS does not tap into any of these ancient waters in the karst systems in the Honouliuli, Kunia, any of the karst systems in Ewa. The Ewa water comes from deep wells in the Honouliuli, Kunia, and Waipahu districts. Thank you.
Okay, nobody from DOE, I think. Okay, moving on to Governor Josh Green. Perry?
Aloha, everyone. Hi. I'll try and be quick. So I did drop off a newsletter if any of you want to pick it up. The legislative session ended in May, and since then, the governor has received 274 bills that passed through the 2023 legislative session. Of those bills, 263 have been permitted to pass into law, 5 of them without his signature, the rest with his signature. If you want information on those specific pieces of legislation, please go to the governor's website, governor.hawaii.gov, and click on the news releases. You can sort through them on the basis of the different subject areas. Some of those subject areas are included in this newsletter. The other big announcement is that the Hawaii Housing Finance Development Corporation is expanding the Homeowner Assistant Fund program. This is a program that's supposed to help Hawaii residents who have mortgages, who require essential mortgage assistance. They are primarily individuals in line with this program who are experiencing financial hardship caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Information on that program can be found on the HHFDC's website through the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism. If you have any questions, my email is available through the meeting notice, and I'll also be hanging back to Fox Story after this. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to HDOT. Fawn? Okay, I see her on, but okie dokie. We'll move back if she comes back on. Okay, moving on to State District 19 Senator Henry Aquino. Any rep online?
Yes, we have a rep online and I've sent a message. This is Jane Nackis from his staff. And due to time, we're just going to move to the next person with your permission.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to Senator Kurt Vivella.
Aloha. My name is Lavinia Tatofi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Again, my name is Lavinia Tatofi, and I am here on behalf of Senator Kurt Vivella. He sends his regards to our newly elected board members. I apologize for not attending in person, but thank you for allowing me to present virtually. I have already sent a link to Senator's newsletter in the chat box. I apologize again for those who are attending in person that I did not distribute any hard copies. And in the interest of time, if you have any questions or comments, please contact Senator Vivella at senatavivella@capital.hawaii.gov or his office, 586-6360. Mahalo.
Thank you. Okay, we can go back to Fern. You on, Fern? Oh, Fawn, sorry. Fern.
Hi, sorry. My mic's just started working
Go ahead.
on Farrington Highway. Henry?
Henry. Oh, oh, wait, I hear somebody. Technical difficulties. Still can't hear. Okay, we'll get back to you guys. Moving on to Senator Mike Gabbard.
Aloha, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
in the interest of time, I also just posted the information in the chat. Senator Gabbard's June newsletter and an invite to his July Listen Story community meeting. Our special guest will be Stephanie Kendrick from Hawaiian Humane Society, and she'll be giving an update on the new EVA Hawaiian Humane Society. So please see the chat and let us know if you have any questions. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to Representative District 39, Elijah Parrott.
Hello, this is Elijah Park. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Great. I was a part of a beach cleanup at Barber's Point, and I've been going door to door throughout Oasis Townhomes, Waikele, Westlock Estates, Westlock Fairways, Ho'opili this morning, talking story with people. And so they'll share with me their concerns, and then I CC them on an email and then to the appropriate department of their concerns. So feel free to reach out to my office if I can help you out. Mahalo.
Thank you. Moving on to Representative District 40, Rose Martinez.
Tracy Akaki, Office Manager for Martinez. She's out of state right now. Just to report that there's going to be no special session. And congratulations to all the board members and new board members, and good luck on your next 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Okay, moving on to Representative District 41, Representative David Alcos.
Good morning. Hello, guys. I just had to make you guys laugh. That was tiring. Legislation session has ended for me this past couple months, a month and a half, and just wanted to share with you guys on things that we did, bills that has passed. I got my flyers over there. We have monies that we got for the community. You can check it out. I had surveys that I sent out to the community, and you can see the surveys that was in there, what they said in the surveys. I'm also holding a town hall meeting on July 26th in this Ever Beach Library, and it's going to be about drugs, fentanyl, alcohol, and prevention on that to help us, our families out there. And I think, you know, it's important. There's a lot of families that have been hurting, a lot of good, close friends that died. And, you know, I think it's an awareness that we all need to know a little bit more. And also, I would just want to say thank you to city and county, you know, Augie, Andrea, Kehau. They got $2.7 million for Ever Beach Bathroom, Oneula Beach Parks that we've been asking for a long time. They also put in the CIP budget for $1 million, and look like they have about $150,000 for a Sing Park. And then I just want to share that I did have a meeting with the mayor just a few weeks ago, and the Navy wants to give over the land that is headed out towards White Plain Beach, about 400 acres. And the city is saying that they want to take it. So they have plans of trying to take it and using that as a parks and recs. It is designed for mostly for parks and recs in that area. So hopefully we can get more parks out there. So they're also looking at a racetrack as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Representative District 42, Diamond Garcia. No rep. Okay, for the committees, I guess we'll table this because it's time. We'll move on to the committee. But Board members, please email in our group email to whoever's interested in the parks, education, transportation, OMPO, public safety, economic development, climate change, Hawaiian affairs, military. If anybody's interested, send an email, then we'll get you on those as to chair those boards or multi-chair those boards as well, that we can get the, going on. So we don't have to go through all the for time limit act. Okay, moving on to announcements. Regular board meeting it says to be determined, but it's going to be August 10th, same time, 7 o'clock here at the Evan Neighborhood Board. Regular board meetings and broadcasts every first Sunday at 6 p.m. and every second and fourth Friday at 10 a.m. on Olelo Digital Channel 49. Thank you, everybody, for coming, staying, and being a part of this board and community. Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.